Hey, hi, hello, darlings. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Let's just say hi to chat first. Banana, thank you for being here, darling, and enjoy your lurk. Enjoy. And Cameron, nice to see you, and welcome.
Welcome, everyone.
Elise, thank you so much for joining us for some spooky stories. And Zilen, you as well. And Ananas, happy to see you on my stream as well. How you doing, hon? Indeed, glasses. Yeah, I gotta look smart for.
They look so fancy. I like them.
Of course, gotta look smart for some reading, right?
Yeah.
And hey, Apple. Immediately just redeeming duking it out with Mikey. Like the setup? Yeah, I thought we'll have a comfy little studio here.
Very comfy. Nothing sussy going on the background.
No, pay no mind. We're here being cozy. We're here being good. Like
yeah, everything's fine.
Don't think too much about it, okay? It's gonna be fine. It's okay. And yes, of course we're gonna have boba. We're gonna be reading stories, so of course we're gonna need some drinks, right? Yomitsu. I chose blueberry, obviously.
Blueberry is so good.
I thought you might like it.
Thank you.
And for me, it's a taro boba. Very, very cute and purple.
Yeah.
This place would still be €1,200 a month downtown. Yup.
Oh no.
Obviously they're gonna charge you extra for the ghost experience. Obviously.
Yeah.
Never had boba? I very much recommend. Like,
same.
You had boba, yeah?
I really recommend it though.
I feel like for some people, the texture might be like, how would I say, not the most pleasant one. So not everyone likes the texture of boba, but it's good.
Yeah.
Hope been doing good this week. Thank you, Cameron. It's been a bit of a rough week this week, but here we are and getting better. And we're gonna have a very cozy Sunday and a good stream tonight, yeah?
Yeah.
Shame with Tuesday, I just had to cancel stream. It was not gonna happen that day. So yeah. But been doing alright. But boba, go get it. Go try. You might like it. There's fruity ones. Then there's milk tea ones. Thank you, Cameron. But also, we're here for the spooky stories. But before we begin, let me make sure. Is Yomitsu's audio okay? Do you hear her well? Kati, thank you so much for the sub, hon. Thank you. And Elise,
thank
you as well. Thank you, darlings.
People are so sweet.
They are. Holy fuck. No moments stealing. Everything is appreciated equally. Okay? But yeah, just making sure that you can hear me too, roughly as well as you can hear me. At least close.
Yeah. I'll probably get a bit more get a bit louder. That's why I get into it. Since I'm a bit nervous right now, but yeah. You know.
It should be good. It should be fine, I imagine. At least the audio levels look good. S- sound test?
Sound test?
Persona 5 spooky stories? Yomi will easily get louder. Is there context for this, hun?
Apparently, I was very loud in yesterday's stream.
Oh, damn.
I was, simping over this one girl.
Hey, let's go.
Like,
I'm so proud of you, hun. I am so
Spooky
very proud of you.
This one. Fine. All of them, all of the characters.
Did you simp for all of the characters? Every single
Yeah.
man, woman, and be
Possibly.
that is beautiful. I appreciate that.
But yeah.
What spooky noise can you make?
Me?
Mitsu, do you have a spooky noise you can make?
I don't even know where to start. Fucking gremlin noise like I don't know. That's just weird, maybe, yeah.
That was pretty cute.
Hi Herbert. Hi Herbert.
Should I try that as well?
Yes, yes. Probably.
Hi, Herbert.
No. That's cool.
Was
Cool.
that okay? Was that good?
Yeah.
But how's the sound? You hear me? It's okay? You hear me okay? BGM's okay? Not too loud? Not too distracting? All good?
Thumbs up. Nice.
Let's fucking go then.
Let's go.
So you wanted me to start?
Yeah, sure.
Gotcha. So what we'll be doing is that like we'll be both reading the same like stories as we go, okay? Otherwise, it would be so that like one of us is just gonna be quiet there for like 10 up to like 10-15 minutes. So what we're gonna be reading like a couple of minutes each of like each story. We're gonna be like a couple of paragraphs and then we'll be switching. And we'll kind of like see how we do like dialogues in story, but like the idea would be that like we would be going like back and forth with the dialogue. Yeah. So let's go. The first story we're reading is I need to like make the BGM more quiet for me. Just a second. There we go. The first story is called My Door Keeps on Opening During the Night by Antonier. Enjoy. I moved into my new apartment a few months ago, right towards the end of summer. The apartment is very typical: one bedroom, one bathroom, a kitchen which leads into a living room as well. This would be the first time living on my own, but I was confident. I knew when my rent was due, my budget for food and all that stuff. I was sitting on my bed looking for jobs when I first heard it. I heard my door creak open and close abruptly. As you can imagine, I was very confused, but a couple of searches throughout my apartment let me calm down. A few minutes later it happened again, a slow creak and then a sudden slam as the door was shut. This time, I was more annoyed than scared. I went through my apartment one more time and found nothing. After a little thought, this was the explanation I came up with. I'll get the next one, and if you want to take the one afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
The door to my bedroom has this broken latch, which is stuck, as if someone was constantly holding it open. Which means that my doorknob is useless, and I can push and pull my door open, as I tend to shut my door often, This means that my bedroom can get pretty hot and the air becomes pretty stale. This means that I have my window open almost 24/7. This means that my door opening and closing is the result of the draft that comes through the window. The wind will push the door, then get cut off, letting the weight of the door push it close. This began to happen so often that I didn't even bat an eye to it. Yes.
A little while after I started my courses, I was late studying for some of my first exams. It was particularly cold that night, so I went and closed my window. From my position on the bed, I didn't have an immediate sight line on the door, and I would have to lean forward to get a good view on it. As I was reviewing the material that my professor had posted, I heard that all too familiar slow, open, and abrupt close. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and immediately I felt the sensation that I was being watched. I took a very step towards the door and opened it, staring into the dark void that was my bathroom. I went through my entire apartment, and no window was open. In other words, sorry. There was no reason for that door to open like it normally did. There was no logical explanation. Unless, no, stuff like that isn't real. Should I read the next one and then after that? I went back to my bed and tried to get back on the track with my work, but I couldn't think straight. All I could think was somebody hiding somewhere in my apartment just watching me. I thought to myself that there was no way I was sleeping in my apartment tonight, so I called up a bunch of people from school or anyone in the area to see if anyone had any room for me to sleep. But alas, they had no room for me, as most of them already had 3 college students in a 2-bedroom apartment. Totally pissed off, I looked towards the direction of my room and shuddered. I ended up sleeping on the couch.
Nothing happened for a few weeks, and I had almost forgotten about it. If it went for the door almost constantly drifting open, then slamming over and over. One night at about 2 a.m., I shot awake suddenly. I had no nightmares, no bad dreams, nothing. I didn't even feel tired, I was dead awake. I had closed the window before I went to sleep because my apartment is right next to the train station and the noise was unbearable. I had sat there just listening in dead silence. The only noise was the blood pumping through my ears. When I finally lay down, I heard the door creak open. It didn't close. I leaned forward to get a better view of the door, and I screamed. Looking back were 2 eyes, equally bloodshot, as if this thing was just crying. Its pupils were as black as the darkness that had surrounded it. I sat there, paralyzed. You want to continue? Or...
Sure. I saw a hand which looked like it was manifested from the darkness, resting on the door. The skin was wrinkled and hung loose from the bone. Its fingers were long and thin, and its nails were like daggers attached to the end of its fingers. It rhythmically... Wait. Help.
No worries.
How do you pronounce that shit?
Rhythmically?
Tapped
Trust
its
me,
fingers on
the glasses give me like 20 more IQ.
Good. We need that during my reading. Anyway, still staring. Its eyes were upturned as if it were smiling at me. Yet I did not see any mouth. I was beyond horrified. All I could do was watch as it waded into the room, moving awkwardly as if it had just grown these limbs and was just testing them out. He came to a stop at the door of my bed. It looked as if this figure had been built from wire, elongated beyond proportions. Wait, proportion? I could see his ribs poking through his skin, begging to be freed from his rib cage. He was almost as tall as my room, easily being over 10 feet tall. He raised his impossibly thin arm and pointed at me. I heard one thing. Leave. You can continue.
Yosh. I didn't have to be told twice. I bolted out of the bed and ran past him towards my front door. It felt as though I ran for 100 meters. It felt like an eternity. But it was impossible to escape, and I wasn't moving. But I reached the front door. I swiftly grabbed my keys and sprinted out. Before I left, I took one look back, and the figure seemed to be smiling, staring at me run away. I quickly moved out after that, only returning during the day to pack my shit and leave. I found another apartment that was a bit more expensive, but I was happy to pay whatever to get out of that place. A few months after was that I was working on an English essay. The news station that was on in the background caught my attention. Recently, a landlord at redacted apartment building has been arrested for the murder of 6 tenants over the course of 3 years. His most recent victim, Sadie Redfield, was reported missing 2 months ago, and when Sadie's neighbors reported a foul stench coming from her apartment, room 163, 2 police officers showed up on the scene and found the landlord cuddling with Sadie's decapitated body. The news showed an image of the landlord and his name, and my blood ran cold as I recognized the man as my own landlord. Do you mind if I take the last one?
Go ahead.
Just then, there was a knock on my door. I walked up to it, and on the doormat was a box. I looked left and right down the corridor and saw no one. That's weird, first of all. I didn't order anything. Second, there wasn't a delivery guy outside. And third of all, how did someone get away so fast without causing any noise? I picked up the box, and attached to it was a small post-it note. See you soon. I opened the box and screamed. Inside the box were a bunch of photos of me sleeping and laying on my bed, all taken from that creaking door. Bro.
Damn.
Bro. And also welcome Kaito and welcome Din.
Nice, didn't. I love the homies.
All of the homies. But yeah. How did you enjoy the first one? I really like this, like, the reading actually. Like, it works really, really well.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry if I sounded a bit.
Bruh. No. Like, with reading live, it's impossible not to stutter, etc.
Yeah.
You know? It's all
That's
good.
true.
And you're doing great.
Thank you.
Exactly, Din. Thank you, hun.
I would listen to Inari like read me bedtime stories every night.
Does that mean that I gotta do this more often?
Yes, definitely.
Also, Din's message. But before the message, thank you so much for the gifted sub, Din. Thank you. Mwah. But as Din wrote, outside the front door, there was a gremlin in a horribly contorted position, their arms and legs in positions unfathomable. As I fell over screaming, it turns its head toward me and goes, "Ayo, bruh."
That's bullying. That's
He
bullying.
needs some milk.
I also hope that was a decent like impression of you. Heyo, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh.
Although we
Mm-hmm.
both do that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
Thank you, Din.
I need
Thank
to
you,
make
Cameron. Mhm.
I need to make a collection of people imitating me, voice
Yes.
impression.
Yes, you do.
You're probably
Uh,
the second one doing that, or third.
I can, like, honey, I'm gonna practice and I'm gonna, like, make the best
Yes.
impression of you.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
I need to practice my impression of you.
Oh,
Mm.
that's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey's done an impression of me, Minnie's done an impression of me. Who
Oh.
else, though? Would you be the third? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I also love that these darlings are just feeling really fucking cozy in chat while we were like, there was a decapitated, like, there were photos of you sleeping in a box on your front door. With a note. See you soon.
Yeah. That would be horrible, though. Imagine that happened to you.
Yeah. I'd move out, like, real fucking fast.
Mm-hmm.
Kaito, you absolute darling. Would you like? Oh, I was thinking of like next could be the. I played hide and seek with my son.
Oh. Sounds good.
You wanna start it?
Sure. Although, let me drink.
Yeah, of course. And also, if you wanna like say the full title of the story and like who wrote it, just to give credits.
Yeah. The next story is I played hide and seek with my son and found something terrifying, made by Robert Mort. Okay, are you ready? During quarantine, my 4-year-old and I played a lot of hide and seek. Well, hide and seek with with a few extra rules. 1, I'm the only one that hides. He doesn't want to. 2, I have to call out "Yoo-hoo" every few minutes, otherwise he would never find me. And 3, when he gets close, I pop a hand or foot out of my hiding spot, and he shrieks, "I see your feet." 4-year-olds are really stupid, okay? And I didn't exactly have the money to buy him tons of toys. We just moved into this house a few weeks ago. The rent took up nearly my entire paycheck. I got all of the furniture from Recycle. We ate beans and rice often, and I was still driving around a 20-year-old car. Do you want to continue?
Sure. Do you want to do the dialogue, like back and forth?
Oh, sure.
Oh shit, the headbutts are incorrect. There we go.
It's headbutting the ghost next to you. Do you want me to be Benjamin?
If you'd like to.
Yeah, sure.
I can be the mom.
Yes. Hide again, Benjamin said. Oh, wait.
Oh yeah, I guess it's from the mother's perspective.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, headbutts have been transferred to Mitsu.
Yay.
Hide again, Benjamin said, tugging my hand. Hide again.
Hide again.
But it's almost bedtime.
Please.
Okay, but only one game, okay? Go count in the kitchen. He ran around the corner as fast as he could. 1, 2. I ran through the living room, and then I saw it, the whole closet. Perfect. I opened the door and ducked inside. It was a tight fit, all those scratchy, furry old coats pressing against me, but it was worth it. Because the better the hiding spot, the more time I got to myself.
Wait, that sounds sussy.
Yes, it very much does. I pulled out my phone and started browsing Reddit. Soon his muffled footsteps sounded around the dining room. I waited a minute. When he didn't seem to be coming my way, I creaked the door. Yoo-hoo! I called out. Footsteps grew louder. I heard his muffled giggles as he walked toward me, and then he started going up the stairs. What an idiot. I cracked the door open a little further, just in time to see his little feet disappear from the landing. Then I shrugged. More time for me. I sat back down in the closet and pulled out the phone. Do you want to continue?
Sure. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? I heard him giggle from upstairs. Mommy, where are you? I smiled. I wonder if a mom invented hide and seek. It's quite brilliant. You get a few precious minutes away from your child, and they're not even supposed to make much noise. But you're entertaining them at the same time. Absolutely Yoo-hoo. I stopped. Every muscle in my body froze. But I heard it, clear as day. A soft, clear voice calling from upstairs. But Benjamin and I were home alone. Oh God, someone's in the house, and Benjamin... I burst out of the closet. Benjamin, where are you? I heard Benjamin's footsteps running upon mine. Me. Sorry. His giggles trailing down to me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Benjamin, I finally screamed. Do you want to continue?
Sure. Saved me a good line, huh? More giggles, and then Benjamin's voice. I see your feet! No. I catapulted up the steps, screaming for him. I burst into his bedroom, but he wasn't there. Just his empty rocket bed, comforter rumbled. Embroidered stars staring back at me. I ran back into the hallway, spinning around. Benjamin? But I didn't hear any footsteps, any giggling. The house was dead silent now, and I could hear a pin drop. I ran into the guest bedroom. It was empty. I ran over to the closet, threw it open, looked up and down. Nothing. I stumbled back out in the hallway, crossed back towards my bedroom, the only bedroom left. I ran inside and flicked on the lights. Empty. A pile of dirty laundry on the chair, untouched. The wardrobe hanging open, my clothes inside. The pillows piled up on each other in a heap. Heart dropping, I ran around the other side of the bed, also empty. I crouched to look under the bed, empty. Mommy? Mommy? Relief flooded me as I hear that voice. The door to the bathroom opened a crack, and then one blue eye peered out at me, wide with fear. You wanna continue?
Sure. I ran over and grabbed him, hugged him, and then I hoisted him up and started out of the bathroom? Stared?
He restarted, but stared. Let's agree on stared.
Yeah. His eyes were still wide with fear, and they weren't focused on my face, but the spot just over my shoulder. I whipped around. It took me a moment to see it, but then I did. I stared at the wardrobe, frozen, my heart pounding in my ears. In the shadows, poking from underneath the hems of my dresses and coats, were 2 feet. In moments like this, the brain doesn't really think. It's too slow. Instinct rings. The smartest thing would have been to lock ourselves in the bathroom and climb out the window, but instead, I just ran for the hallway as fast as I could. Should I continue or?
Do you want to finish it?
I don't mind.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. As I ran down the stairs, I heard the wait. No.
Wait.
Yeah. Footsteps, slow and methodical, resonating through the house. I could still hear them bounding into my brain as I ran to the neighbor and screamed for help. The police came. They searched the house. They didn't find anything. No signs of forced entry either. So they promised they'd patrol my street for the next few days. But that was really all they could do. I decided to stay at a friend's house for a few weeks until I felt safe again. But every time I closed my eyes, I could see them. Those 2 feet that looked so off, somehow. Swollen, as if it was waterlogged. A bit too grayish in tone to belong to any normal person. Toenails blackened and split. And I think back to that wardrobe. How I'd gotten it for free. How the owner told me his mother had just died. And he was just trying to get rid of all her stuff as quickly as possible. And I wondered, how exactly did she die?
Imagine just like, children are creepy, right? Like,
Yeah.
they are terrifying. They see shit you don't.
Bruh.
And suddenly there's just a kid that's just like, I see your feet, as per the game, which is a very normal thing to say, surely. But like, you know, they saw feet that they shouldn't have. Oh, thank you. No, please.
Yeah. That reminds me of like, I've heard a lot of things about like animals being able to see spirits and stuff like that. That humans can't, and that reminds me exactly of that.
Oh, 100%. For some reason, it's like children and animals that like can see shit you're very much not supposed to.
Yeah.
But they
It's
see it.
creepy.
It's creepy as fuck, yeah. But also, it makes for really good stories. Unfortunately, some of them seem to be very much real. Which just makes it so much worse.
Yeah. Bruh.
Let me just read Meda's message. One morning, it felt like I was waking up from a dream and went to the bathroom. I didn't have glasses, but I saw the person looking back from the mirror wasn't familiar, like dark eyes and hollow. Then I got my glasses on, and it was me, tired and stressed out.
No.
Oh, Meta.
That's sad. For you.
Oh, you. Please take care of yourself too, though. Conjuring watch along when oh my god, we got so many movies to watch, for real.
Yeah.
For real. We need to like show you Nightmare Before Christmas and we got the America's Most Haunted Places. That was the one we were supposed to watch, Kaito, right? So that's gonna be a nice watch along. Would you like to join?
Maybe. I'll have to see if I have time, but yeah.
Yeah. we have no like dates set for that yet, but like you know, we
Yeah.
need to. Like I love stuff like that, like spooky videos and stuff like that. I like good shit. And Sio, hey yo, welcome, hun. What would you like to read next? Also, you mentioned there was the like shorter story. I don't think my wife is asleep. Would you like to like if we read one in between? And if I finish that one, would you like to like read the I don't think my wife is asleep? Like
Sure.
do the whole thing solo because like it's pretty short.
Yeah. I can do that.
Would you like to go for I've been a truck driver for a few months.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'll quickly get it up so I can read it at the same time.
I'm just checking chat meanwhile.
Yes.
Heard about the doll? I think her name is Annabelle. Yes, I very much heard about Annabelle. Have you? Mitsu? I've very much seen it on like what was it called? Like Ryan and Shane, like them going to say hi to Annabelle.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but like that is pretty scary. Also, I think she escaped at some point. Like she just like fucked off.
Yeah.
She was just like, so long. Sayonara, motherfuckers.
Bruh. That kind of things are so interesting yet so like creepy. But like at the same time I'm very interested in like actually seeing something like that in real life.
Yup. Very, very much so. But also not. For me, like it's not like a haunted place, it's just a really, really fucking creepy place. Like we were on a ghost tour like a couple of years ago on Halloween. Like those would be really, really, really nice places to show off, to be honest. Wink wink, nudge nudge. But yeah, there's like I think it's like an abandoned like radio station, if I'm not wrong. I think it's an abandoned radio station. And there are these like people have made like wood carvings and stuff like that, and they're like all over the road, and like then there's stuff in the woods as well to see. So yeah, it's genuinely a pretty fucking creepy place. Not haunted, but as far as I know, but like very fucking creepy. So if we ever get the chance, let's go check that out.
Yes.
It's not nearby, but like, you know, if we get the chance.
Yeah.
One day.
One day.
We'd also take a video of it, so to just like show chat like what kind of a place it is. Because yeah, gonna live stream it. Now that's an interesting idea. Very much so. I wouldn't want you darlings missing something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Are you ready? So the next story is, I've been a truck driver for a few months. I've seen some weird things by Blondie Trucker 97. I'm just checking chat.
So take your time.
Head-mounted GoPro with the tiny Inare cut out to keep the stream format intact. Yes. Oh, that could be like a perfect moment to like use my like OG PNG as well.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
A little throwback when we have the like actual chance for that.
Yeah.
But yes. When I took this job to be an over-the-road trucker, I thought it would be really exciting. I thought I'd get to travel the country and see the sights, and come home with stories to tell my friends and family. I was right. The job is exciting, but I soon found that I'm better off not sharing these stories with anyone close to me. Not because I don't trust them, but because I'm worried they wouldn't believe me. Let me back up. My name is Brittany. I'm 22 years old, and I've been driving with a large company for a few months now that I won't name due to obvious reasons. Ever since my training ended and I got my own truck to start solo, I've seen some pretty weird shit. When you're driving the loneliest road in America, yes, that's its real name, in the middle of nowhere in Nevada, things can start to get to you. I suppose it was only a matter of time before I saw something out in the desert at nearly midnight. American stories can be so fucking horrifying because skinwalkers.
Brian.
I don't know if this is skinwalker story, but like, man, skinwalkers.
They're awful. Yeah.
I'll take the next one and then if you want to take the one after.
Yeah, sure.
I still had another hour to the nearest truck stop, and blasting the freezing cold air against my face was all I could do to keep myself from dozing off at the wheel. You want to continue?
Yeah. You're responsible, I know. But until you work this job, you don't understand how much lax comes with it. I was driving this highway in the desert, in the pitch darkness, blackness of a cold summer night, when suddenly something runs out in the road in front of me. Before I can even react, it's gone across the other side into the bushes. I barely got a good look at it, but I could have sworn it looked like a large, white dog, faster than any dog I've ever seen. I tried to just ignore it and keep driving. I see animals crossing the road at night all the time. It didn't seem like anything to get worked up about. Not even a minute later, I feel my truck lurch to the left and into the other lane. I quickly try to swerve it and correct it, and easily step on the brake so I don't wreck it. It can be easy to jackknife an 80,000-pound metal death machine. I slow it down and regain control. I look for the nearest pullover spot so I can see what the hell just hit my rig, and see if there's any damage. Once I find a spot and turn off, I hit my brakes and hop out. I walked around to the other side and see a large dent on the side of my trailer. Do you want to continue?
Sure. What the fuck? I said to myself as I walk over to inspect the side of the trailer. It's a huge dent, at least 5 feet wide and tall. No real shape to it, just a general dent. So thank you for the hydrate. I can't imagine what could have hit me. My first thought was maybe a boulder rolled down from the side of the hill and smashed into me, but I didn't think I was driving next to any hills or mountains. As far as I knew, it was flat desert. I hear the sound of dirt crunching under, footfall behind me, and I turn around. My breath catches in my throat and my stomach drops as I see something standing not 50 feet away from me. It's large, menacing, and white. I can't even find the words to describe. Let me regain my composure. Just a second. I'm thinking of myself, large, menacing, and white. I can't even find the words to describe what this thing looked like. Do you mind if I finish this and
Go ahead.
you
go
take
ahead.
let's do the shorter one next, and you can do that in its entirety.
Okay.
Yeah. It looked like a very large dog, and that's a stretch. It stood on two short, stout legs with long forearms stretching down past its knees. Its shoulders were broad and heaving, as if it had just ran a marathon. Its head was mostly shaped like a wolf, with a large snout filled with razor-sharp teeth, bared in a snarl, saliva dripping from its maw. Jet black eyes bore right through me, filled with hatred and hunger. I couldn't move. I was frozen in place. This creature stood between me and my only salvation, my truck. We stared at one another for a moment until I broke the silence. "You're one ugly motherfucker," I said. It snarled at me, then unexpectedly turned and walked away slowly, using all four of its limbs, receding into the bushes and into the night. I stood there what felt like several minutes, wondering if it would jump out and feed on my flesh at any moment. It never came back. I ran around the front of my truck and jumped inside, locking the door quickly and flooring it as fast as you can floor in an 18-wheeler, which is not at all. As soon as I was back on the highway and barreling down it as if my life depended on it. For a while, felt like it did. Within a half hour, I found myself at the truck stop and shut down for the night. Sleep was difficult that night. I was certain every noise I heard was that damn creature returning. Luckily, the night went on without another incident. I have more stories to tell, but this is getting long, so I think I'll stop here. Remember guys, be careful out there on the road. You never know what else is out there with you. And as Silen said, floored it at breakneck speeds of 3 kilometers per hour. Yes. I mean, yeah, if you have like a huge fucking truck, you're there just like, you floor it and like you hear the engine roar, but like you're moving like a fucking snail. You're at a turtle speed.
Yeah.
Picks up eventually. Eventually. But that comes very much close to a Skinwalker story. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Holy shit.
That kind of stories have always been very interesting, but I've never seen like many of those stories. I guess I don't, research enough, but
Yeah. Because I really want to like, do you feel like Skinwalkers are like one of the like worst stories? Like they are the most some of the most horrifying stories. Because for me, like, out of all the paranormal things, like, yeah, those might just be the worst.
yeah.
And as Apple said, European folklore be like funny little wood gnomes, American folklore be like unspeakable horrors. I mean, there's a lot of like pretty terrifying shit here too, right? But like, the creatures are like funny little wood gnomes. Yeah. And hey, Brandon, welcome, hun. Doing good. And very much vibing with some horror stories with this absolutely adorable cutie.
Aw, you're a cutie.
You're a cutie. Both.
I love you.
Both. Both. I've heard that before, Brandon, actually. Like, it might just be because in Tokyo Ghoul you have like several ghouls with like eyes like mine. But I assure you, I'm totally human. Don't even worry about it. Agree, both. Kaito, you absolute darling. You too, though. That makes
Yeah.
3 instantly.
The whole chat is a cutie.
You darlings are absolutely adorable. I would headbutt each and every one of you, personally.
Same.
Ayo.
Can I also get head pass?
I don't like. I usually don't say that people ask stupid questions. However, that is as close to a stupid question if I've ever heard it. You can have all the headbutts you want. Like, you don't even need to ask.
That's so awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the head pats.
And also, indeed, check out Yomitsu. Amazing artist, absolute cutie, a good friend, an absolute darling.
Thank you.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Kaito.
Good night, Kaito.
Thanks for stopping by, Kaito. And you sleep well, darling. I'll catch you again soon, yeah? And we gotta plan the movie nights and the watch-alongs. All the good stuff. We got so much to watch. Holy fucking shit. We even started like the last season of JoJo with Mikey, Beatty, and Juju? I think it was Juju as well. And Misia.
I hope you enjoyed.
We started the like second half of the like Stone Ocean. And we haven't finished it just yet. Oh shit. I'm also glad nobody's redeemed any bongs because I forgot to set up tits. It's like the one thing I always forget.
That's fine though.
There we go. Now you can bonk me. And only me.
Nice.
Mitsu-san bonkable.
No. What if I time the hits for you? I can just get in front of you and tank all of them.
You just tank all of the hits for me.
Yeah.
I mean you're the more bonk resistant here, so to be fair. And welcome to the Discord, Dranden. I hope you enjoy your stay. It's a small, comfy community.
Yeah.
A self-sustaining headpat economy. Actually, yeah. But whenever you want, you can take the next one.
Okay. The next story is I don't think my wife is asleep from falling from the sky. 3, 1. 2:49 a.m. I lie awake in bed, laying on my right side. My wife is behind me. She's awake, I can tell. I can feel her staring at me from behind. She's always been a night owl, but tonight feels different. She feels wrong. She's breathing heavy. I should check on her, but for the life of me, I cannot bring myself to turn around. 3:03 a.m. I can feel her moving closer to me. She moves ever so slightly, and I can feel her touch in the back of my hair. Is she caressing me? The hair on my neck are standing up. Why is her hand so cold? I can see the door to my room through the darkness. My entire body just wants to jump up and run to it. I can't do that. I'm being silly. 3:13 a.m. She's right behind me. I can smell her breath. It's horrible. I've never smelled her like this before. I can feel something pressing into my back. Is it a knife? It doesn't feel sharp. I gotta do something. I decide to jump up and turn the lights on. But right before I do, the hall light turns on. I can hear my wife coming up the stairs. She's on the phone with her mom. I can hear her crying. Apparently, her grandpa died earlier today. He never liked me. Maybe that's why he decided to pay me a visit tonight.
Shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh god. I love those stories where it's just like, yeah, that's my wife behind me. But then
Totally my wife.
totally my wife. And then it's just your wife in the like living room being like, hey,
Yeah.
what's going on in there? And you're like, aren't you supposed to be like right behind me right now? Bro, let's get it.
Silence comment. Holy shit. Yeah.
Truly. Yes. Scared Borat voice. My wife? My wife? God, I will not try and make a Borat impression, but like the my wife is like legendary. Let's see what's next. Would you like to read Beware the Dust?
Just a second, I'll get it up. Got it.
Let's go. And like we could do like I could see if I could find like Skinwalker stories specifically. And then like we could make like a Skinwalker special. Just reading.
Shit, yeah. That would be cool.
Yeah. Cause like what's like I gotta ask like out of it. And maybe I've asked this before, I'm not sure. But like what's the type of horror that like affects you the most?
Like I don't really get scared that often. But usually
Nerves of Steel, yes.
Usually right before sleeping, I think a lot of things can, make me a bit jumpy in a way. But probably like that Grudge girl, that kind of thingies, I guess. Like White Cape. Yeah, like the kind of things that sometimes someone was just if you saw someone like just standing behind you or like seeing something in a reflection, that is extremely creepy to me. So I don't like reflections at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The what girl? The Grudge girl. Like from E1.
What's her name? I'll Google it up.
It was like that's like one of the horror movies.
Wait.
Kayako? Was it Kayako?
full name Kayako Saeki.
Oh yeah, Kayako. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like the who is it called? The other movie with a similar like an Onryo, but like it was I don't remember the name of the movie anymore.
I don't remember that either. But I think I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about, yeah.
The ring.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Specifically
Ringo.
that. Yes. The ringo. Yes. Yeah, that like. Well, like what you said about reflections, like, yup.
Yeah. Reflections,
if you're like,
mm.
if you start to like think about stuff like that, because like, I actually have the same, like, if I start thinking about something spooky, then what will happen is that I will get like a little jumpy.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that like I'm kind of getting spooked by everything. And if I continue down that road, I can't sleep.
Same. Like
it's
it's
just
always
like,
so creepy.
Yeah. And it's like you're just there, you overanalyze every single sound you hear.
Yeah.
And like it's just it's horrible. And then you just like, especially if you have like a lot of mirrors in your house. So you're kind of like psyching yourself up to seeing something horrifying every time you walk past the mirror. And then it's just like it's just you yourself, like nothing special.
This is giving me chills. I have like a mirror like I have 2 big mirrors in my room. So one of them is like next to my bed and one of them is like directly above my bed. So I can always see something reflecting from my thingy when I'm trying to sleep.
Holy fucking shit. I actually have a mirror right next to my bed as well. Or like one side of the bed. And then like coming out of the bedroom, like when I turn right, and for example if I'm going to the bathroom during the night, when I turn right there's like there's a hallway mirror, like like the closet mirror. And I have to walk past that every time if I want to get into the living room or the bathroom.
Same here.
So I make the turn and it's like, hello, here we are. Here's the mirror.
Bruh.
Mirrors are terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually very much the same for me. But also, the next story is called... It's called We Were the Dust by Carrie and H. When you live in places like West Idaho or East Oregon for long enough, near small towns like Vail or Parma or Weiser, you start to learn the unspoken rules of the land. You learn the summer sun hits harder than an angry mule. You'll learn that some winters can be so cold that the snow refuses to fall. And you learn that there is at least one day of every year, sometime in the middle of September, that God likes to turn on the fans of heaven at full blast over this state. Idaho, one of the furthest places north of the continental 48, you can actually find tornadoes. There's just something about the land here, along the valley, into Malheur County in Oregon, that just shapes the wind into a constant funnel, pushing it along at dangerously high speeds during some parts of the year. And during that time, in the beginning of what most folks call fall, is when it gets to be particularly nasty. The only thing nastier than the wind is probably the dust. I could take the next one and then Iguizoa.
Yeah.
I think it has something to do with the sun, the way it beats down on the earth. You notice it way more, often in the summer at any rate, on fields that haven't been set for harvest, covered in weeds but untouched by the notorious cheat grass that tends to grow worse than black mold in an old apartment. The dust lies there, exposed, finer than flour, with next to no grit. When you walk in it, it seeps through your shoes, getting past your socks and into your feet, and it stings like a mother, almost like it's eating you alive.
I was 5 or 6 years old when I saw my first dust storm. We were living ways away from an old town called Vale? About a half an hour drive from the Idaho border into Oregon. Wait, Oregon? Right?
Oregon? Yeah.
Yeah. I have been in the early morning in my grandparents' house on a ranch that my family bought, but couldn't been there since before the earth even had a name. You never realize that you take the sky for granted until it turns brown. The wind roared across the flats and over the hills like a stampeding herd?
A beating?
Weeds and shrubs were pulled up and thrown aside like they were made of paper, and even the trees threatened to come down as all greenery was stripped from them, and their smaller branches tore off into the gale. Though I was still young, I held that memory vividly. No passage in the Bible could compare to the horrible throng of wind and fury that was imprinted into my childlike mind. As I walked up to the giant window that made my grandfolks' living room wall, pressing my nose against the glass, I thought I could see something. It was like an imprint into the brown, the dust pulling free from the earth through the force of the gale. Their shape was no taller than I was, but it was vaguely human, almost like somebody was standing there, buffeted against the dust and the wind, just looking back at me. Do you want to continue?
Sure. And also, as Mikey requested, it's gonna be a soft talk.
Oh shit.
No need to share if you don't want, but like, yeah, I'll be doing the next part with the soft talk.
If I talk any softer, you're not gonna be able to hear me.
You're going very, very soft though. That's very true.
No.
Like this would be like the soft talk. I like that the next line is almost immediately a yell, but you know. Get away from the window, boy. Before I knew it, I was pulled back away from the glass and plopped on the armchair as my grandfather hurriedly closed the blinds, shutting us away from that ever-present turmoil of brown fury outside. I was confused and about to ask who it was standing outside, but even at 6 I seemed to recognize that sharp, worried look upon my grandfather's form for what it was. The way his breath caught in his chest, his eyes darted between the window and the blinds. "You listen to me, boy," he told me, sharp and stern like a drill instructor. That tone he would make whenever I did something wrong or had to pay attention, like when he was working with dangerous farm equipment that could get me hurt if I strayed too close. stay away from the window in a storm. You see Browna, you go to your room or the back wall and keep the windows closed. Got it? Yes, sir, I said in a small voice. Mom and Dad always told me to listen to Grandpa and Grandma, especially when they got stern. The farm always had some kind of dangers for a small boy like myself. My grandfather softened a bit when he saw I got the message and took me to the kitchen to fix up a bowl of cereal for breakfast. I knew better than to ask more than I should, and I couldn't shake the feeling or the memory of what I saw. A figure in the dust, my age and my height, staring through the window straight at me. Do you want to take the next part?
Sure. It wouldn't be for another 10 years before I saw the figures in the dust again. My mom and dad had a falling out with my grandpa, and we moved into the city for a while. Through the wind can be just as bad at that time in September. In places like Boise, there was never dust. Not like back in Vale. Something about the river being nearby, I guess. My grandparents would eventually sell the ranch and moved on downstate, and I treated the old memory like a childhood dream. I was about 15 when my parents decided to take us on a trip to see cousins up north in some of the old towns near Hell's Canyon. Canyon.
Canyon.
Canyon.
The cutest pronunciation of Canyon I've ever heard.
I was thinking about crayons. I was like, hold on. We're gonna ignore that.
Canyon.
Wait.
Sorry, let me. Canyon. Sorry, please go on. Please go on, darling.
Okay. We passed a number of small towns with small names like Midvale, Council, Indian Valley. We kept driving off the back roads until we reached a tiny yellow house on a plot of land beside a dirt road, out in the middle of nowhere. It was a far cry from a city like Boise or Meridian, but something in my blood woke back up then, drawn by the familiar sights of rangeland, barbed wire fencing, and cattle pens alongside barns, with the whinnies of horses and the bleating of sheep. We were visiting an uncle who I barely remember meeting, and cousins I hadn't seen since I was a toddler. A 3-day weekend of farm life, good food, and no traffic. A veritable frontier paradise. Do you want to continue?
Sure. It was on the second day out there with my cousins. Ben was about my age and Joey was a little younger. They had been plying me with all sorts of questions about what life was like in the big city the day before, and today they decided to take me out hiking over to the backwoods near the farm. It was a great day of boys just being boys, playing with sticks, finding weird-looking rocks, occasionally sighting tracks of elk along the trail. It wasn't until we were on our way back that I noticed the quiet. The birds had suddenly stopped calling out, and even the leaves seemed to hush. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end. I looked around at my cousins apprehensively. They felt it too. Ben was the first to say that we should head back. Joey wanted to look at the track we had just found a little longer, but I was quick to agree. Everything just felt off, and I could hear a distant rumbling, not quite unlike that of thunder. We decided to avoid the trail altogether and go the quick way home by cutting through an old field that had been left out of seed that year. We cut past the tree line and headed for the house. ducking under some old barbed wire as we hurried. I felt a bit of the sharp metal tug a hole into my shirt and winced at a scratch. I didn't even think about the potential for tetanus or at my mom being angry at a ruined shirt, as my focus was more on what was approaching from the west. I could take the next one and then swap. It was like a massive transparent wall was spreading across the landscape. Scattered branches, weeds, and other debris was picked up and thrown aside as it came. As it passed over the range, it brought up with it clouds of dust that seemed to swallow all else in its path, and it was headed our way.
I barely had time to register the stinging bite at my feet as the three of us ran in a panic. The dust beneath us seemed to be biting through my shoes almost hungrily, easily passing through the foam and rubber and going up through the denim of my jeans. My tongue felt like a dry rag in my mouth as I panted. Ben and I had just managed to cross the barbed wire fence and over the creek by the time the wall of wind hit us. The closest I could compare it to there was to a car accident when my mom had picked me up from school. The sudden thud, followed by a wave of shock that made your bones shudder and grit your teeth, knocked me off my feet. If I hadn't already been partway in the ditch, I swear it would have sent me airborne. I got up and tried to get my bearings as I suddenly felt like the very world was tipping me off balance from the sheer strength of the wind. Joey, get out of there. It was then that I turned to realize that Joey hadn't made it past the fence with us when the storm hit. He had stumbled and lost his footing in the dust by the time we had crossed the barbed wire fence. In our panic, I hadn't even realized that he had lagged behind. The whole sky became a shade brown, like the ugly paint of an old office building's wallpaper. The wind seemed to howl and shriek like a wailing banshee, threatening to pull us off the ground and into the sky like plastic bags, and with it carried the dust. I'll read 2 more?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can take up to the mark if you'd
okay.
like.
Sure. The whole field that we had just been running across seemed to come alive, rising with the wind like a terrible fog. It quickly enveloped Joey within its suffocating embrace. 1 minute he had been getting to his feet and was turning to run towards us, and the next he was gone. And then we heard the screaming. Ben called out to his younger brother, trying to raise his voice above the roaring wind. I couldn't make a sound. I watched with horror as the shapes within the dust moved with a life of their own. Shapes like clawed hands and cackling, childlike faces turning into the screaming form of Joey as they tore him to pieces. It was like something out of a horror movie, played out before us in slow motion as bits of skin, muscle, and clothing tore free into the wind. Occasionally the dark shape of a rib cage or a skull with hair peered through the dust as Joey's scream echoed through the roaring gale.
I don't know how long Ben and I were out there in the storm for, but it was starting to get dark by the time I remember being back in the safety of the house. Cutting out? Audio?
Cutting up?
on Discord, it sounds fine. Yeah, on Discord, you at least, to me, you sound very, like, it's smooth.
It could be the connection or something.
It could be, yeah. Could very much well be. And hey, Beta! Welcome, darling. Good to see you here. How you doing? We're reading horror stories with this absolute darling called Yomitsu. And a great artist, a darling friend. Of
You're
course.
so sweet.
Well, obviously. Obviously to a darling friend like you.
Aww.
And also happy to always mention that you are actually a very amazing artist, and you can use her model right next to me. Made by her herself.
Aww.
And yes, of course, like, we're here, we're chilling, we're vibing, we have our little studio. Nothing weird, we're just here.
Nothing weird.
We're here, we're queer.
Oh
And we
no.
have some bubble tea. Yes?
We're here, we're queer.
With some bubble
Nice.
tea. Yeah. Reading spooky stories. Nothing is sus, nothing to think about.
Nothing sus.
And that one is blueberry, and this one is taro.
Yum.
And we're gonna be greedy about them. They're very much just ours.
Yeah.
Let me continue.
Oh yeah.
Headphone cable dying. Oh no! I hope you can fix that. But that explains. And Dylan, thanks for confirming that, like, the audio is fine. Thank you, hun.
Yeah.
I don't know how long Ben and I were out there in the storm for, but it was starting to get dark by the time I remember being back in the safety of the house. We were both caked in dirt from head to toe, and it took ages for us to get it all off. My shoes were a mess and had looked like they had been eaten through by rats. My feet were bleeding. They never did find Joey's body. Search parties went through the entire landscape for 2 whole weeks before the search was called off. They didn't even find any bones, even despite us telling them where to look. I heard his dad had that whole plot of land dug for years after without even finding a trace. Ben was never the same after that. Lord Laver spoke, said he blamed himself last time I ever heard him talk about Joey again. He went in the construction industry when he got out of school and spent most of his nights in bars and strip clubs, drinking his misery away. They later found his body in the Boa River. He was only 27. Mom and Dad quietly decided that we were done with country life. We made our ends meet in a small apartment in Meridian until I graduated and moved out. I have a family of my own now. My wife talks about how she wants a quiet life on a farm away from the hustle and bustle of the city. I quietly tried to talk her out of it, but that doesn't stop us from occasionally going out to Hell's Canyon or as Mitsu called it, Canyon.
No.
Sorry, darling. I had to. He was so cute.
I was thinking crayon.
Canyon becomes crayon, and it becomes canyon. Gotta ask, have you, like, I've seen like a meme video of somebody pronouncing onion as onion. So yes, that's what I think of when I hear canyon, onion. No,
Onion.
just
Onion.
onion. onion, where I'm going to
Onion?
cut the onion.
Bully.
No. Okay. Yeah, sure, but like only a little bit. Only just a tiny little
A
bit.
little bit.
Mm-hmm. I quietly tried to talk her out of it, but that doesn't stop us from occasionally going out to Hell's Canyon. Like vacation trips in the summer. But every September, when the leaves start to turn color and God decides it's time to turn the fans over Idaho, I keep indoors with the blinds tightly shut, even out here in the city, away from the farms and fields left to the weeds and the sagebrush. There's occasionally enough dust picked up to turn the sky a little brown. And every now and again I see them through the glass, standing across the road or in a construction lot in town. The shapes of people standing invisibly, silhouetted by dust, staring at me, waiting for me to join them.
Damn.
That actually like... And again, thank you Ellis to recommending this to me. But have you heard of a horror podcast called The Magnus Archives?
Nope, I have never heard of that before.
We'll fix that right after stream. I will send it your way. It's
Thank you.
it's like a story like made into yeah. Oh, you remember like Spread the Archives? Yes. Like there's basically like it's not a podcast as like you'd imagine it like traditionally, but it's basically like a person like basically reading kind of stories, but like it's a story of its own as well. And thank you for the hydrate, Salab. So it's basically like a story over many seasons and like many podcast length episodes. It's very, very good. And Ellis, you remember that as well, like the story where about the dust. It was quite something. It was very similar to this actually. It's you gotta check it out. I think you might like it. I think you very much would like it.
Cool.
Because like for example, Elias was absolutely fucking right that I might enjoy it, because like I started binging it, and whenever I had like time to listen to something, I literally just had Magnus Archives playing. Yeah.
I'll definitely be listening to that. I've been listening to some like podcast kind of thingies while drawing and stuff like that. So yeah, I would definitely enjoy that.
It literally might be perfect for that, because like it's like it's just like listenable, right? There's only audio. So yeah. Like it's spooky, and like I think you'll find it interesting, but also like it's like something you can listen to while you're doing something else as well, and you're not gonna like miss stuff about it, if that makes sense. I'll link it to you, and honestly I'll just like link it to my server as well, so anyone else can also check it out. It's on YouTube. I think it's on like other places as well, but like I listen to it from YouTube myself. See
that kind of stories. Huh? That kind of stories make me glad that there are no storms in Finland.
Right?
But yeah, storms can be very creepy. I don't like them.
Like stories about like storms in general can be like really, really scary. Like you don't even need like a horror element to it. They're like in on themselves. They're like bad enough, right?
Like for me, especially since we travel a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
from country to country, there can be some like a bit heavier stuff like in Japan and stuff like that. And
Yeah, yeah.
thinking about that kind of like natural disasters, they're just scary.
They are, because like that kind of just like tells like it makes you feel just how small and like
Yeah.
insignificant humans are, and like
Mm,
there's nothing you can do about stuff like that. It's just
exactly.
gonna happen.
Mm,
Like if you have like a hurricane coming, and you can make some flood walls that like maybe your town doesn't get as badly flooded, but
mm,
whatever's gonna happen is just gonna happen.
yeah.
Hmm. I was thinking, would you like to do people keep flashing their high beams at me next?
Yes, so
Hmm. But like earthquakes, landslides,
yeah.
storms
Mm,
are terrifying.
mm,
And as I said, doesn't even need a supernatural element to it.
yeah.
It's like, what's the worst we get? We get like a blizzard, like
Mm,
kind of a blizzard, like strong winds and a lot of snow. Can like fuck up. It can fuck with the like electricity, but
mm,
like that's about it.
yeah.
Like maybe like storms can like maybe knock some trees down, and maybe if you're unlucky,
Mm,
it hits a power line.
yeah.
Even that only happens in like doesn't even happen in cities. Like if you're in a city,
Yeah.
you're just fine.
Bruh, that reminds me like there was a time there was like a huge storm going on, like a
Mm-hmm.
windstorm. And
Mm-hmm.
we have like trees around our house, right? And one of them fell down and it was so close to hitting our house.
Oh
And it
shit.
was one of those big trees, so
Mm-hmm. I'm
so
glad it
yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It would have been very troublesome.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Cause
Mm,
like, that's fucking scary. In like any case,
yeah.
even if like it probably wouldn't have like caused any injuries, but like just
Mm,
damage.
yeah.
It's still horrible to just think
Mm,
about that.
yeah.
So like, I don't remember in what context I talked about it, but like, I'm just like happy living here because like you kind of learn to appreciate the boredom, like
Mm,
in quotation marks, the boredom. Like you can make your own excitement basically. You don't there's no like outside things making you scared or nervous.
mm,
You can like focus on other things.
mm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm going off on tangents again. Do you want to start the next one? Or
I don't mind. I don't mind.
yeah.
I can, yeah, I can start if you want to.
Yes. I think
Okay,
I
so
finished
the
the
next
last one.
one. Right, right, yeah. So the next one is called "People Keep Flashing Their High Beams on Me," made by Blair Daniels. It first happened around Wilhelmina Trial. When the Sedan passed me. Wait, Sedan? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
Sedan.
It's a I think it's a car.
Oh.
A type of car. It's
I
just
don't
not
know
like
its car types.
that's okay.
Mm,
I just like heard that word several times, so and I think it's
mm,
just the type of car. It's just like I'm not gonna like just say that it's just a car passing me. It's
Yeah,
specifically a sedan.
Okay. When the sedan passed me, it flashed its high beams. A cop was ahead, or even more likely, deer. I hit the brakes, scanning the forest on the either side. But nothing popped up. No cop hidden on the side of the road, ready to bounce on speeders. No herd of deer staring at me with glowing eyes in the darkness. When I'd gotten about a mile away, I figured it was safe. I pushed my foot off the accelerator and resumed my usual speed. Must have been a herd of deer that crossed already. I turned up the radio. A staticky carry on my... Sorry, I'm trying not to fangirl. Carry on my wayward son.
You can go ahead.
She's supernatural.
You've been watching it recently, right?
Yeah, I actually finished it.
Oh,
I
nice.
really recommend it. Okay. Aesthetically, carry on my wayward son coming true. Damn, the reception in the valley really sucked. But my phone's battery was low. I wasn't about to use up all the juice playing Every Rose Has Its Thorn for the 100th time. I turned the dial, but the rest of the station seemed even more staticky. At least I'll be home soon. I was halfway through making a mental checklist of everything I had to get done tomorrow when another pair of headlights blinked through the trees. Oh no, I shouldn't be reading right now.
We can swap in a moment.
Yeah. When it got about 20 feet from me, it flashed its high beams too. More deer? You can continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. You can fangirl in peace. But as I drove through the darkness, I didn't see anything. No cop cars either, unless they were really well hidden. As the seconds ticked by, and there was nothing else, no construction zone, tree in the road, or other hazards, my heart began to pound. What was he trying to warn me about? I glanced down at my phone, the screen black in the passenger seat. Is it already dead? Maybe they were warning me about something wrong with my car. Both headlights seemed to be working, but maybe there was smoke coming out of my tailpipe or something. I didn't like the idea of being stuck on the side of the road at 11 p.m. I sucked in a deep breath. It's probably just a deer. There are lots of them around here, remember? A green sign for Edgar Avenue popped up in my headlights and my heart slowed. Less than 10 minutes from home. I thought of the fluffy, furry blanket I just gotten a week ago, curling up in it, eating some chocolate before bed, as Leela snuggled up next to me. The thought made my heart slow even further. My cat, my room, my blanket. Another pair of headlights swung around the bend. As it approached me, it slowed, and then it flashed its high beams at me. My blood went cold. For some reason, 2 flashes seemed to fit within the realm of coincidence, but 3? It's not deer or a cop. Something about me. Something wrong with the car, or... A horrible thought shot through my mind. That urban legend, where a girl's driving home late, and a truck keeps following her and flashing his high beams. But the trucker is a nice dude, and he's flashing the headlights because there's a guy in the backseat with a knife, and he keeps rising up to stab her. Oh god. You wanna swap?
I don't mind. I was just saying, oh god. Then realized, I actually said oh god.
Hey Putte, welcome on.
Do you want to continue or should I?
You can continue if you'd like, but I can continue as well.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Let's go.
Okay. I turned on the lights and whipped around. The backseat was empty, at least as far as I could tell. So, swinging my gaze back to the road, I reached my hand around the back of my seat. My heart pounded in my chest as I slowly swept my fingers through the darkness behind me. What if there's someone there? I imagined my fingers meeting rough cloth, warm skin, sticky hot breath, the cold steel point of a knife. But they only met air. I breathed a sigh of relief, swished my hand through the air a few more times, high and low. There was a dead spot that I couldn't reach, but it would be far too small for an adult man to hide in, unless he was some kind of a gold medal contortionist. So maybe it's something wrong with the car then. Maybe they see smoke, or doors ajar, or a lights out. I glanced at the side of the road. There was a margin of dirt between the edge of the road and the beginning of the forest. I could safely pull over and check what was wrong. And again, this road was really lonely, especially so late. There are only a few houses on this road, and none that I could see right now. Just thick woods, brambles, and twisted bark that would muffle any screams. I'll take my chances driving home.
Wanna swap? Or
Yeah, sure.
okay. I gripped the steering wheel. Only about 5 more miles. I again thought of my warm little house and Leela with her fluffy black fur and permanent smirk. So wholesome. So cute. Pickup truck swung around the bend. I held my breath. They're not flashing at me. Good. Almost home. But then, there it was. Flash. The after image of the searing white light danced in my vision. Cold sweat broke out on my neck. Damn it, I whispered. What the hell is going on? Their headlights disappeared behind me, and the darkness immediately pulled around me again, like fluid filling a void. Scraggly crooked branches clawed at my car, silhouetted by the full moon. The radio played straight static. I reached for my phone, and then I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Coming from straight above me. Something was tapping on my moonroof. My entire body shook. The dark road in front of me became a blur. No, this can't be happening. How could someone even be? I jammed my foot on the accelerator. The speedometer shot 30, 35, 40. Tap, tap, tap. Without looking up, I reached a shaking hand up to the moonroof. I pressed my hand against the glass. It felt warm, even though it was only 40 degrees outside. It's pretty cold, right? Or those using funny numbers.
Very
What
cold.
the fuck? I couldn't look up. But it was just this visceral instinct. Feeling like you could... Like the feeling you get when you know someone is watching you. And your brain is scrambling. And your brain is screaming, hide. I bit my lip, staring at the road, waiting for my street to come up. Tap, tap, tap. Don't look up, don't look up, don't look up. Maple woods appeared before me. I swung onto the street, then pulled into the driveway, without even thinking it through. Do you mind if I finish this?
Go ahead.
I swung the door open and ran as fast as I possibly could. Surprisingly, I got inside safe and sound. I spent the night watching old movies, Leela curled on my lap. I checked the front and back doors and all the windows about 1,000,000 times each, and didn't dare to look outside at my car. Closed my eyes even when checking the front door. I thought it was safe. But I wasn't. Because now I heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. It's more frequent now. More frantic. Coming from right above me. Right above my bed. Coming from inside my attic.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Bruh. I
Bruh.
couldn't choose. I had to put my blanket on.
Aww.
Holy shit.
Actually, I'll do the same. Blanket
Yeah.
time.
That kind of dab.
Yeah.
That
Like a
kind of
sto-
stories are always so creepy, especially since it's like dark.
Mm.
Mm.
And like, I feel like for a lot of people, like supernatural horror doesn't really like shake them any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. But then like IRL horror does very much spook them.
Yeah.
Like, because like I guess it's the like you don't even need to imagine it being plausible. It is plausible. It's just the fact that it's plausible. And I think that somebody just like doing that, they're just like, fuck me. Sideways even.
No. Sassy time.
It's never like I don't think there will ever like be a stream where I'm not gonna be at least a little sus.
Yeah, most likely, but that's fine.
No, not afraid of the dark, mainly because the only horrific looking thing to possibly come across is you yourself. No. But also, as we talked about mirrors earlier.
Yeah. There was a time when I got scared of my own reflection.
Oh, and I've done that many times as well.
Yeah.
Especially like if you have like a mirror that's like angled in a weird way. So you don't like, you expect your reflection to look one way, but then it actually looks different from that. So then it's like, is that me? I hope it's me. I sure fucking hope it's me.
Holy shit. Like seeing something out of the ordinary, even if you like place something somewhere you don't normally place it, it's like immediately you think that, oh shit, is there something behind me? Is there someone looking at me? And stuff like that. It was so creepy.
We thought she was ghetto, but she was a sus. A sus.
Sus.
No ghetto, only sus. I will not bark or a woo for you. Thank you. Unless you like pay me to. Maybe I'll consider. Maybe. We strike a deal first then, okay? Don't just try that. Okay? Or it just makes you fall asleep, but thrills make your heart pump and mind race. Right, because like I think like RL horror is like, I think like thriller would be the genre, you know? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I'm trying to think of a movie where like the name was like just like shh, as in like shushing someone, or it was but it was about the like, I think she was deaf.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It was pretty good.
Oh yeah, it was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit is scary as fuck.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly, Cameron. The real things to be afraid of are people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because like, as I said earlier, you don't have to imagine the plausibility. It's just plausible.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that I really still want to read, you have time still, right?
Yeah. We could go for one more.
It was the one that you also wanted to read, right? My missing husband came home, but I just know it isn't him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you have time for one more, then like, let's do this.
We can do that.
Yeah. I might still continue because like there are still a few stories left. So.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Do you want to start this one as well, or I can start it because like. Because
you can choose.
You can start it. You can start it.
Okay. This one is called My Missing Husband Came Home, but I just know it isn't him, by writing with L? Is that an L or I?
I think it's an L.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me adjust my glasses to look at it.
My husband went missing 6 months ago. Just went out to work one day and never came home. It was horrible shock to the whole neighborhood, because things like that just didn't happen in our little slice of white picket fence suburbia. The police launched an investigation, and the neighborhood watch sent out search parties, but no one ever found any evidence to indicate what had happened to him. Our families were devastated. Recently, the missing posters have been taken down or papered over. The updates from the police became less frequent and dwindled away. I accepted that. Hard as it was to admit, my Rick wasn't coming back. Until he did. A week ago, I was in the back garden watering my petunias when I heard the garden gate creak open. I jerked my head in that direction, and there he was, exactly the same as he was the day he disappeared. Same windswept blonde hair and bright blue eyes, same curl to his pink lips. I was in shock. Our families had mourned for him, and yet there he was, standing in our garden like he had just popped out for milk or something. When I asked where he had been, he said he didn't know. He couldn't remember anything about the last 6 months. All our family and friends are beside themselves with joy. They almost can't believe it. But that's just the one thing. I don't believe it. You can continue.
Look, I understand how crazy this all sounds. I do. Our families would never believe me, and I can't go to the police unless I want to end up in a straitjacket. But I just know that the man sleeping next to me isn't my husband. I don't know what to do. I know I should be happy, but I'm not. I'm terrified. I don't know much about anything supernatural or paranormal. I don't even like watching horror movies, but something about this whole situation makes my skin crawl. Just let me explain why I'm so sure. Once I've done that, hopefully one of you will believe me, and you'll be able to tell me what to do. The morning after Rick came home, I made him a cup of tea. When I handed it to him, he gave me the brightest smile. Then he took a sugar cube from the dish on the table and dropped it into the cup. Our house was in chaos with his return, and I was still in shock, so I didn't think much of it at the time, but it's been replaying in my mind ever since. I know it doesn't sound very significant, but my husband never put sugar in his tea. He was also always adamant that it ruined the taste, and he'd get so frustrated if I ever put sugar in his cup by accident. And yet, this man had sugar. Then it was the golf. A few days ago, when he was out visiting his mom, I recorded a golf tournament that was showing on the TV. It was one of Rick's favorite golfers that was competing, and he never missed it. Once, he even skipped out on an anniversary dinner just to watch a championship. Only, when he came home from his parents and I told him what I'd done, he just seemed unbothered. Like, he just said thanks and everything, and then he asked if I wanted to get dinner. He didn't even watch it, and that's just so out of character for him. Then one night, I woke up around 2 a.m. to see Rick's face inches from mine, just looking at me with his blank eyes. I kinda gave this nervous laugh and asked, "Baby, what are you doing?" And he didn't answer. For like a solid 30 seconds, he just stared, almost like he was looking right through me. Then he suddenly smiled and said, "Sorry, honey. Sometimes I just can't believe this is real." Then he just rolled over and went to sleep. I didn't get much sleep after that myself. Do you want to continue, or should I take the next one?
I don't mind. You can read it if you want to.
Yeah, I'll take the next one and then swap.
Yeah.
You want to do the part 2 as well?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'll do the next one and then let's swap. Yesterday, about a week after he came home, the neighborhood threw a street party to celebrate his return. Everyone from our street and the streets on the side turn up to see him and tell him how happy they are that he's alright. When he wasn't standing with his arm around my waist, he was milling around, chatting amicably to each and every one of our neighbors, even the little kids. Jackson, our next door neighbor, Sally's toddler, wanted to play peekaboo, and Rick happily played along with a smile on his face. Now, my husband never did that. Rick always said he didn't like kids. That's why we never had any. And so he never wanted to play with any of the neighborhood children. Especially not Jackson. Rick all but avoided him. Before he disappeared, I had started to suspect it was so I wouldn't see them together. I noticed the subtle but unmistakable similarities.
The final nail in the coffin. Proverbially speaking, was Sally. Just this morning, she came knocking on our door. Her excuse was the tray of brownies she carried, but I think she just wanted to push her way into our morning so that she could see for herself that what the situation was. After she left, I called her a nosy busybody. Rick laughed, kissed my head, and agreed with me. That was when I knew for sure that I couldn't really be him. Rick always used to get so mad whenever I insulted Sally. Like, I didn't have any right to hate her, even though she'd been fucking my husband for years. But today, there was none of that. He didn't even try to defend her. I know what you must be thinking. If he was in an accident or something, he might have had some kind of traumatic brain injury that caused him to forget some things about his life. maybe even change his personality. And that's a valid, reasonable explanation. I have no doubt that it's what the police would tell me if I reported all this. But you know why I'm dead certain that this man isn't my husband? He doesn't have a scar. If he was really Rick, he'd have a scar on the side of his forehead shaped like the golf club I hit him with. But there's nothing, not a mark. Honestly, I'm this close to going out tonight and digging up my petunias just to make sure he's still under there. I don't know what I'm sharing a bed with, but I know it's not my husband. So what the hell am I going to do? Spooky.
Wait.
Hmm?
This close to going out tonight and digging up my petunias just to make sure he's still under there.
I think, like, that and the fact that it literally said that the scar on the side of his face with the golf club that I hit him. Do you think the wife murdered him?
I'm like 99% sure the wife actually just like swung a golf club at him, killed him, and buried him in the
Yeah.
flower, like the flower
Honestly,
benches. Yeah.
I
Holy
hope
fuck.
they just worded the thingy a bit weirdly. I hope.
Well, like,
I hope.
I love that twist though. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, so Sayu, hey darling, welcome. Like,
My headphones.
oh no,
My headphones
okay?
are running out of battery, so I'll quickly put them on charge. But yeah.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Hold on.
She vibing. How you doing, Sayu? We are reading horror stories with Yomitsu here. I think she has to pop out after this one, but I'll stay and I'll read you a couple more. And do check Yomitsu out. And that's for everyone in chat, if you haven't already. Hello? You back?
No? Can you hear
Hello?
me okay? I had to change the USB port of my microphone, so I hope it's still the same.
I think it changed. It sounds different, yeah.
Oh, okay, wait. Is it bad? Wait.
It's not bad. It's not as good as I...
Maybe it's just oh, wait. Am I lagging?
No, not particularly, hun.
Oh, wait. Wow. Okay, is it better now?
There we go.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
No worries. But yeah, holy shit. I love the twist that like she's just like, yeah, my dear husband went missing 6 months ago. I don't know what to do. But
yeah,
I would be shocked too if I murdered someone. And then they're just back. They're like,
yeah.
hey, what's up?
Not your daily thingy, but you know, it would still be pretty creepy if you just, yeah.
Yeah. He's just like, what's up? What's up, babe? I'm back. Like,
What's up?
you're supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, our guy is buried in the garden.
Yeah.
I see how it is. I mean, to be fair, he was cheating. But like, people, please, like, just dump that person. Just dump him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
oh,
no.
hell, Apple. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, do you want to continue?
Yes. So
Yeah.
we're moving on to the part 2. This is a two-parter. That was part 1. And here is the start of the part 2. Hi everyone. I want to thank you all for your concern and support. Even though I'm not giving out my real name, I obviously took a huge risk by telling anyone this at all, and I'm so grateful you've all tried to help. I'm so sorry for the delay in updating. I, well, had some things to figure out. Yeah. So I'll start with what I know. My husband is dead. In the end, I decided not to dig up the petunias. It was a rash, unadvisable notion which I have since abandoned because I realized how much worse things could get if I was caught. I've been smart about the whole thing so far, and I'm not about to throw that all away. It's too big of a risk. I did, however, thoroughly examine the flowers and the earth around them for any sign of disturbance, but I found none. Of course I found none. I don't know what I thought had happened, that my garden was some sort of pet cemetery and my husband had clawed his way back from the beyond. Even to me, of all people, that sounds crazy. No, my husband is dead. In my heart, I know that beyond any shadow of a doubt, which means that whoever's in my kitchen right now is a complete stranger. He looks and sounds exactly like Rick. His own parents don't even notice the difference, for heaven's sake. But he doesn't act like him at all, which tells me again that he is a stranger. That he never knew me before this, and he certainly never knew Rick. He doesn't enjoy the things Rick enjoyed. He doesn't say the sort of things Rick said. He doesn't complain, doesn't raise his voice, doesn't lie or gaslight or cheat. Rick sounds kind of a dick. This sounds like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Frankly, he's a better husband than Rick ever was. Honestly, when I think about it like that, I'm almost tempted to just let it go. I tried to let it go, not to get caught up in worrying and just accept my new life for what it is. But I find myself unable to let it go. Because even though this man seems ordinary and kind and reasonable, there's one thing that scares me still. For some reason, to have so confidently taken Rick's place, they would somehow have to be sure themselves that the real Rick would not return to complicate their plans. However innocent or sinister those plans may be, whoever this man is who is calling himself Rick, he must surely know that Rick is dead. And if he knows that, I would bet anything that he also knows how. I've gambled with my life and my freedom before, and I don't intend to do so again. You wanna continue?
Yeah, sure. A couple of you suggested that Rick might have had a twin that for whatever reason, I never knew about, or perhaps a doppelganger who saw his chance at a more comfortable life and took it. Either of these seem to me to be the closest to the realm of possibility, so they were the first theories that I set out to confirm or disprove. A DNA test would surely be able to confirm whether this man is my husband or husband's twin or someone completely unrelated. Of course, I was hardly going to tell him about it. At best, he would refuse, and at worst, well, I didn't want to find out. So about a week after my last post, I ordered 2 separate DNA tests designed for finding one's relatives and ancestors, and had them delivered whilst Rick was at work. Then, a few nights later, I waited until he was asleep. Actually asleep, not half asleep, and staring, and I pulled out a few strands of his hair. Not enough that it would be noticeable in the morning, but the sufficient amount to send away in a little tube to be analyzed. Much to my relief, he didn't wake up. I'm not sure how I would have explained it if he had. I sent the hair away to the DNA test companies, and they told me I'd have to wait a couple of weeks for the results. And in those couple of weeks, things have gotten stranger, shall we say. Do you want to continue?
You can take the next one if you like.
Okay. You see, I've noticed that Rick never seems to eat of his own accord. Like, he'll make dinner for us both, but that seems more to do with when I mentioned that I'm hungry than with his own desire to eat. He doesn't snack between meals. He never goes for a glass of water. I don't even think he takes anything with him to work for lunch. There's something else too. Rick's beard trimmer is still in its box, exactly where he left it 6 months ago, covered in dust and quite obviously unused. And yet, Rick has been home for nearly a month, and his beard doesn't seem to be any longer, even though he used to trim it twice a week. On top of that, the staring has become a frequent occurrence, and not just in the middle of the night. I catch him watching me during the day too, always looking away or laughing it off whenever I notice him doing it. You can continue.
Yosh. Holy shit. Somebody just being like, hello? That's horrible. Horrifying.
Yeah. Like, goddamn.
Although, I find myself like being stared at by grandmas in like public transit, so there is that. There is that.
Yeah.
So people do that. It's quite rude, but you know,
Yeah.
it could be worse as well. You could have like a semi-demonic creature in your house that's just like consistently staring at you.
Yeah.
That looks like your, for sure, dead husband.
And the fact that this guy's at the house and most likely knows that the husband's dead. It's interesting.
Anyway, I might as well tell you why I'm writing this now, because I can't make head nor tail of the situation anymore. The DNA tests came back in the mail this afternoon, before Rick came home from work. I opened them quickly, eager to see who was included in the list of relatives, whether there were any names I recognized. Either way, it would answer my question. Only, I don't have an answer. All I have are more questions. Because the first test came back as inconclusive, with a note from the company telling me I had sent them a viable hair sample in. I had to send them a viable hair sample in order for it to work. I didn't understand that I'd cut the hair myself, after all. And what did they mean by viable? Oh no.
Oh no.
But it was the second test that concerned me the most, where there should have been more information about demographic and regional origin, There was nothing. Only a line of printed black letters spelling out the word unknown. Where there should have been a list of relatives or ancestors, there was no one. Not just no one related to Rick. No, I mean no one. According to the DNA test, this man has no relatives, no family, no ancestors, no biological connections near or distant. That should be impossible, right? How can a person exist without any kind of relation? And how can he come from nowhere? I'm typing this up on the computer in the study, with several tabs open on various Google searches as I try to figure out how this could be possible. The DNA test is on the table behind me, taunting me with the evidence of everything I do not know. And then I hear it, clear as day, coming from the doorway behind me. Rebecca? You want me to continue, or?
Yeah, you can finish it.
Would you like to finish it?
I don't mind.
Go for it, hun. And hey, Jackson, welcome, hun.
Welcome. Okay. If I didn't know better, I'd say my heart stopped. I would know that voice anywhere. I never heard him come in. Never even heard the door open. Dimly, in the back of my mind, I recall that our door creaks every time it opens. How could I not have heard it? I turned over my shoulder towards not Rick, a false bright smile on my face. He's not smiling, his face is calm. But there's something hard about the line of his mouth that sets me on edge. What the hell is this? His voice is perfectly leveled. Wait, level? But something about it makes the hairs on the back of my neck, stand up. There's an undertone to his voice that I haven't noticed before now. Something low and subtly grating. Even the real Rick never sounded like that. He holds something up, one eyebrow arched. When I see what he's holding, my stomach plummets. The results of the DNA test.
Part 3? Onegaishimasu?
Oh no.
Holy shit.
Bruh.
Is that supernatural? Is that... I mean, it sounds pretty supernatural. Unless it's the twin.
Yeah.
But...
But the DNA test, huh?
Yeah. A viable sample. I mean, DNA, like, dies after a certain time, right? Like...
That's true.
Yeah. So, not a viable sample could be that, like, the DNA is, like, basically just destroyed already.
So what
Maybe?
if it's the dead husband, but is not dead?
She just got the budget DNA test and it's a scam.
Bruh.
But it still does not explain a guy who looks like your husband, but your husband's dead. I also love the lead up to it, and like here's the thing, it's like he doesn't take tea with sugar. He loves golf, and like he hates kids, especially this one little bastard. but suddenly he doesn't. But then it's like, oh yeah, and he's supposed to be dead, by the way. I killed him myself. It's like,
Bruh.
I just love the lead with the like little facts. But yeah, holy shit. We get a like update to this.
Yeah.
We're gonna read that.
Definitely.
Because that is a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
When was the last part written?
Mm.
6 months ago.
Oh no.
First was written 7 months ago.
Oh no.
Maybe we're
Your
holding up
husband
hope.
took away their Reddit account.
I love that that's the explanation to it. He just took away the Reddit account. But, I mean, to be fair, she also killed him, so...
Yeah.
Reddit privilege is revoked for murder.
That's weird.
When did we pivot from, oh, he's missing, to, oh yeah, this dude is dead as shit? I mean, the wife literally admitted that, like, he should have a golf club shaped scar on his forehead where she hit him, and she's clearly indicated that his body is buried under the petunias. She hasn't checked the body, but that's where she buried it. Heavily implied, or, you know.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
We still have a couple, but like, did you have to go at this point?
Yeah. I could slowly be going.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I hope you had a good time.
Of course, and thank you for inviting me. It was very fun to hang out with you, collab again.
Of course. It's always a pleasure with you, darling. Always a pleasure.
Same
And, like,
here.
Like when, like, I've been wanting to do more reading, and like, your chat mentioned reading, and you were like, hey, that could be fun. I was like, yeah, how about doing that together? How about that?
The ultimate collab.
The match made in heaven.
Yeah. But
also,
yeah.
Again, I hope you had a good time.
Yeah.
And chat clearly enjoyed you reading for them.
I hope. I was stuttering and fangirling about weird stuff or laughing at mommy.
Laughing at mommy.
Mommy. Canyon. But yeah. Thank you.
Darlings, if you want you.
Oh no. But yeah. Thank you, chat, and thank you, Inari, for inviting me, and yeah.
Thank you for being here. I'll see you around, yeah?
Yeah. And everyone be sure to enjoy the rest of the stream.
And everyone, be sure to check out Mitsu if you already haven't. She's gonna be doing a horror game marathon next week. There are gonna be collab games, and I'll be in for it at least on Friday. So if you're looking for horror games, she's got you. She's got you covered.
Yeah. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
You take care.
Bye-bye.
You have an amazing night. And bye-bye. Thanks
You
for being
too.
here again.
Remember to turn off the screen share in case it doxes everything. or
Oh, yeah, yeah.
something. Okay. Bye
I'll,
bye.
I'll start with the, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
I'll put it invisible now. Yes. Bye, my
Bye.
hun. Mwah. And there we go. Let's fix that one. And let me just both be gone. Nice timing that I'm still setting the rest. Just vanish that chair. No, that was my chair. Never mind. That one. Let me just adjust before we continue. Let me adjust myself. Smooth over here. Let's put you here. Oh no! Don't worry about it, hun. I got him. Maybe this was my grand plan all along. I was just going to distract you until the end of the stream, and when you'll be hopping off, I can steal your boba. If you were if my plan was successful and you didn't drink it. 10,000 IQ. The glasses really do help, right? Dual wielding boba. Yeah. And yeah. Again, Mitsu, thank you for being here, and I'm glad you had a good time. And I'm glad you liked the bobas. Also, if you like to lurk, I'll still be reading, so if you can keep listening. But before we actually continue, I could take just a tiny little break, stretch, get some more hydration, all that good stuff. So I will be seeing you in just a few minutes. I got a couple more stories to read, and we'll see if I have energy after that, because I still want to finish Soma, and I have no idea when I might have time to do that. So, maybe we'll continue that tonight. We'll see. But I'll see you in just a moment, darlings. Mwah. Hey, darlings. And we're back. Hope you had a nice break as well. Hope you took something to drink. Hope you got some stretching done. Maybe a snack. Yeah? Because I'm about to resume some spooky stories with my double boba. And yeah. I still got a couple more stories to read. We'll be reading through those. And afterwards, maybe, if I still have energy, maybe we could play some Soma. Just update the stream title. It feels so heartbreaking to take with Yomitsu out of it, but there we go. Updated. And where were we? Oh yeah, we got 3 more. We would at least do two of them, and then we'll see how we're feeling. We'll see how we're doing. And thank you, darlings. I hope you're ready for some more. So the next one is called Something Monks Whistling Past My House Every Night at 3:03 by Grand Theft Moto. So it seems to be very I just noticed it's very, 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 very highly voted and praised. Holy shit. So let's go. Every night, no matter the weather, something walks down our street, whistling softly. You can only hear it if you're in the living room or the kitchen when they walk by, and it always starts exactly at 3:03. The sound starts faint, somewhere near the beginning of the lane near the Carson place. We're towards the middle of the street, so the whistling moves past us before fading away in the direction of the cul-de-sac. When I was younger, my sister and I would sneak into the kitchen some nights to listen. Mom and Dad didn't like that, and we'd catch hell if they found us out there, but they were never too hard on us since we were stuck. We were always stuck to the one big rule. Don't try to look at whatever was whistling. My neighborhood is a funny place. I've lived here since I was 6 and I love it. The houses are small but well kept, good-sized yards, plenty of places to roam. There are a lot of other kids here my age. I turned 13 back in October. We grew up together and would always play foursquare in the cul-de-sac or roam around from back porch to back porch in the summer. This was a good place to grow up. I'm old enough to see it. There's only 2 strange things here: the night whistling and the good luck. The whistling never bothered me much. Like I said, I couldn't even hear it from my bedroom, but my mom and dad don't like talking about it, so I've stopped asking questions. My dad is a strong guy, tall and calm. He has an accent since he moved to the US as a kid. His family, my grandparents, they're from the islands. That's what they call it. My dad, the only time he isn't so calm is when the whistler comes up. He talks a little quicker than eyes move fast, and he tells us not to think about it so much and to always remember the one rule, the big rule. Don't try to look outside when the whistler goes past. Not that we could look even if we wanted. There are shutters on the inside of every window. Thick pieces of canvas that pull down from the top and latch to the bottom of the window frame. Each latch even has a small lock, about the size of what you'd find on a diary. My dad locks those shutters every night before we all go to bed and keeps the key in his room. My mom, I don't know what she thinks about the whistling. I've seen her out in the living room before at 3:03. When the sound starts, I could see her if I cracked my door open just an inch to peek. She's not out there often, at least I haven't caught her much, but once or twice a month. I think she sits out there on our big red couch, just listening. The whistler has the same tune every night. It's cheerful, and I'm gonna try and do my best to recreate the tune. Da 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 dum da 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 dum. Hope that's okay. I hope that gives you a good idea. Remember how I said there are two odd things about where I live. Well, besides our night whistler, everyone in my neighborhood is really lucky. It's hard to explain, and Dad doesn't like us talking about this part much either, but good things just seem to happen to people around here a lot. Usually, it's small things, winning a radio contest or getting an unexpected promotion at work, or finding some arrowheads buried in the yard, you know, the authentic kind. The weather here is pretty good. There's no crime, and everybody's gardens bloom extra bright in the fall. A million little blessings I've heard my mom say about living here, but the main reason we stay here, why we moved here in the first place, is my sister Nola. She was born very sick. Something with her lungs. We couldn't even bring her home since she was born. Only visit her in the hospital. She was so small, I remember. Small even compared to the other babies. A machine had to breathe for her. Sorry about that. We moved into our house here to be closer to the hospital. As soon as we moved here, Nola started getting better. The doctors couldn't figure it out. They chalked it up to whatever they were doing, but we all could tell they were confused. But my parents knew, even I knew, Nola getting better was just another of the million little blessings we got for living in our neighborhood. So that's why we stayed, even after we found out that for every small miracle that happens here every day, now and then, some bad things happen, but they only happen if you look for the whistler. See, our neighborhood has a welcoming committee. They show up with macaroni casserole and a gift basket and a manila folder whenever someone new moves in. They're very friendly. 4 people showed up when we moved in 7 years ago. The committee made small talk, gave me a Snickers bar, and took turns holding Nola. It was her first week out of the hospital, so they were extra careful. Then the committee asked to speak to my parents in private, so I was sent to my room, where I still managed to hear nearly every word. The welcoming committee told my parents about how nice the neighborhood was. Really exceptionally hard to explain, kind of nice. And then they told my parents about the even harder to explain whistling that happened every morning 3:03 and ended at the tick of 3:05. The group, our neighbors, warned my parents that the whistling was quiet, would never harm or hurt us, as long as we didn't look for what was making the sound. This part they stressed, and I pushed my ear into the door, straining to hear them. People who went looking for the whistler had their luck changed. Sometimes tragically, black cloud would hang over anyone that looked. Anything that could go wrong would. The manila envelope the committee brought over contained newspaper clippings, stories about car crashes and ruined lives, public deaths and freak accidents. Not everyone dies, I heard the head of the committee tell my dad, but the life goes out of them. Even if they live, there's no light in them ever again, no presence. My mom, I could tell she wasn't taking it seriously. She kept asking if this was some kind of prank they play on new neighbors. At one point, my mom got angry, accused the committee of trying to scare us out of our new home, asked them if they were racist on account of my dad being from the islands. My dad calmed her down, told her he could tell our new neighbors were sincere and they were just trying to help us. He explained that he grew up hearing these kind of stories from his mom and that he knew there were strange things that walked among us. Some of those strange things were good, and some of them were bad, but most were just different. And hey Ali, welcome hun. And Salah, thank you for the hydrate. Let me actually a little sip before the next paragraph. There we go. After the committee left, Dad went out to the hardware store, bought the canvas blinds, the latches, and the locks, and installed them on every window in the house after dinner. The first night in our new house, I crept out of my room at 3 a.m., only to find my dad awake sitting on the living room couch, holding my baby sister. My dad held up his finger in a shh motion, but patted the couch next to him. I sat and we waited. At exactly 3:03, we heard the whistling. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum. And it came and it went, just like the neighbors said. The whistling returns each night, and we never look, and we enjoy our million little blessings every day. Nola breathes on her own, and she's grown into a strong, clever girl. Thank you for the care package, Adam. My dad even joined the welcoming committee. We don't get new neighbors often. Why would anyone want to leave? But when a new family moves in, my dad and the committee bring them macaroni casserole, a gift basket, and a manila folder. It's okay. I need a bunch of hydration when I'm reading this much. I can always tell by the look on my dad's face when he comes back if the family took the committee seriously or if we'd be getting new neighbors again very soon. Not long ago, a family moved in directly next to us. The previous owner, Miss Maddie, passed away at the age of 105. She'd lived a good long life. Our new neighbors seemed like they'd fit in just fine. Thank you for hanging out, Cameron. Thank you for being here. You take care. And good night. Bye bye. There. They believe the welcoming committee took my dad's advice about locking shutters since they had a young child of their own. Whatever newspaper clippings were in that manila envelope, whatever evidence, my dad never let us see. But I imagine it must have been awfully convincing since our neighbors got along with no issues for their first month. Ali, what do you mean? It's just a calm little studio that me and Mitsu got. And oh, by the way, even though Yomitsu had to go already, do check her out. We had a good time reading together, and I'm just finishing the last couple of stories we had prepared for tonight. Yeah. Yeah, it's just Mitsu in the background. She's lurking. She's having a good time listening. No biggies. There's nothing strange afoot, right? Nothing weird. Nothing spooky. It's just a little comfy studio we got for this stream, yeah? Nothing big, nothing strange or weird to think about. Just a studio. Just a studio. Just gonna have a little sip again. There we go. Yeah. They're just vibing. I see no nothing weirdo around me. It's all good. It's all fine. And also the credit for the background is in the credit section of my, like, down below. Be sure to check him out if you. Legends say Yumi still lurks behind the shutters, trying to get back to the boba tea she left by mistake. It's my boba now. But I'll buy her a new blueberry boba next time we hang out, yeah? I could never deprive a darling friend of a blueberry boba. I would never be that cruel. So let me just properly stretch. Yeah, you know. You gotta have your boba. It's my boba now, but you know, I would never deprive you of boba. I think you mentioned that, Ali. That's really, really cool though. I really hope it goes well. One night, when our new neighbors had to leave town, they sent their son Holden to stay with us. He was 12, a year under me in school. I didn't know him well before that night, but as soon as his parents dropped him off after dinner, I could tell it was going to be a bad time. Enjoy the bobas you totally left for me and totally didn't forget to take it with you. Yeah. I'll get you a new one, hun. We'll go buy another time, okay? I'll be sure to bring you one. Actually, if not before Friday, then next Friday. As I mentioned, Yomitsu is gonna be doing a horror marathon with a lot of like different kinds of horror games, some solo, some collab, like co-op games, and I'll be joining her on Friday next week for some collab horror. So you know, I'll be there on Friday, but you should check her out because she's gonna be playing lots during the week. Do you know who is always out there whistling every night? Holden asked the moment after the adults left the room. Me too, thank you, darling. But yeah, you were here, you had a good time with me, you were vibing. So I will more than happily still do a little promo for you on my stream. Yeah. And I greatly enjoyed my time with you. And so did Chad. Your reading was really, really nice and really comfy. The three of us were sitting in the den, some Disney movie playing idly on the television. My sisters and I exchanged a glance. We don't talk about that, I said. I think it's that weirdo that lives in the big yellow house on the corner, Holden said. Mr. Tolls? My sister asked. No way, he's really nice. Holden shrugged. Must be a psycho killer then. Nola tensed. We don't talk about it, I repeated. Let's go in my room and play Nintendo. We spent the next few hours playing games, eating popcorn, and then watching movies. A typical sleepover, but I could see Holden was getting antsy. After my parents had wished us good night, locked the blinds, and gone to bed, Holden stood up from his beanbag and walked over to where Nola and I were sitting on my bed. "Have you ever even tried looking?" he asked. "It's nearly time." Like most sleepovers, we'd conveniently ignored any suggestions of a bedtime. I was shocked to see he was right. It was almost 3 a.m. I sighed. I can't even try to look, because my dad locks the blinds every night and hides the key," he continued, ignoring me. "So does our dad," said Nola. "No," replied Holden. "No, he doesn't." "You saw him do it," I said, a little sharper than I meant to sound. Holden grinned. "Your dad locks the blinds, yeah, but he doesn't hide the key. He keeps it right on his normal keychain." "So?" I asked, worried I already knew what he was going to say next. Because I had noticed that my dad didn't bother hiding the key anymore after all of these years. Because he knew we took it seriously. "So, after your dad locked up, but before your parents went to bed, I went to the bathroom, and on my way, I may have peeked into their room, and I may have also seen your dad's keychain on his nightstand. And I maybe went and borrowed the key to the blinds." "Kids. For fuck's sake." Noel and I stared, and his grin only grew wider. "You're lying," I said. Holden shrugged. "You can check if you want. Just open your parents' door and look. You'll see his keychain right there on the nightstand." "Stay here," I told both of them. "Don't move a muscle." I hurried over to my parents' room, but hesitated at the door. If Holden wasn't lying, my dad would be angry, beyond angry. I was scared thinking about it, but more scared of an open window with the Whistler right outside. I opened the door, barely an inch, and looked in, but it was too dark to see. Taking a deep breath, I walked into the room. 2 steps into the dark, I froze. The whistling started, and I could hear it clearly from my parents' room. I never realized, but they must have heard the sound every night since they moved into the house. They never told us, and I don't think I could have slept through it. I stood there, listening to the whistling come closer, unsure whether I should turn a light or call out for my dad. Soft sounds from the living room brought me back to reality. "Nola," I yelled, running out of my parents' room. Holden and Nola were standing near the front door next to a window. Holden wasn't lying. I could see him fumbling with the lock on one of the blinds. I heard a click. He did have a key. Holden let out a quick laugh. Nola stood next to him, hunched up, afraid, but maybe curious. The whistling was right outside our house now. I think I made a sound, called out. Can't remember. Time felt frozen, clock hands nailed to the face. But I found myself moving. I'm not fast, I've never been athletic. Somehow though, I covered the space between myself and Nola in a moment. My eyes were locked on her, but I heard Holden pull the blind all the way down so it could release. I heard the snap of it start to raise, and I heard the whistling just on the other side of the window. But I had my arms around Nola, and I turned as though she was facing away from the window. At the same time, I jammed my eyes shut. The blind whipped open. The whistling stopped. I felt Nola shaking in my arms. "Don't look, okay?" I told her. "Don't turn around." We were positioned so that she was facing back towards the hallway, and I was facing the window. My eyes were still closed. I felt her nod into my shoulder. I reached out with the arm not holding Nola and tried to touch Holden. My hand brushed against his arm. He was shaking worse than Nola. "Holden?" I asked. Silence. I reached past him and gingerly felt for the window, eyes still sealed shut. Glass was cold against my fingertips, colder than it should have been for the time of the year. I moved my hand up the window, searching for the string to the blind. The glass began to get warmer the further I reached, and there was a gentle hum feeding back into my fingertips. Try not to think about what might be on the other side of the window. Finally, I touched the string and yanked the blind shut. I opened my eyes. In the dim light leaking out from the kitchen, I could make out Holden, pale and small, staring at the now closed window. "Holden?" I asked again. He turned toward me and screamed. Everything became a flurry of motion. Light sparked to life in the hall, then the living room. My parents' footsteps thudded across the hardwood floor. I didn't turn to look back at them. My eyes were glued to Holden. He was pale. He had bit his lip so hard there was a thin red line of blood running down his chin, and he'd wet himself. "What happened?" my dad asked from behind me. I managed to swivel away from Holden and look back. He looked. I'd never seen my dad scared before, but I saw it that night. In that moment, an old, ugly terror stitch on his face, a parent's fear. "Just Holden?" he mouthed to me. I nodded yes. My dad let out a breath. He looked so relieved I nearly expected him to cheer. But then he turned to Holden, and my friend Dad's face changed. I wonder if he felt bad for feeling good that Holden was the only one that looked. There was a knock at the door. We all froze. Holden whimpered. "Don't answer it," my mom said. She stood at the threshold of the hall. I'd always thought she was a skeptic and just humored my dad about the windows and the whistler, but that night we were all believers. I noticed that both of my parents held baseball bats. They must have taken them from their bedroom. The knock came again, a little louder this time. "Please don't open the door," Holden whimpered. My dad walked over to him, hugged him close. "We won't," my dad promised, still holding his bat. "Nothing is coming in here tonight." Thud, thud, thud. This time the knocking was loud enough to rattle the door. Holden screamed again and Nola clutched her arms around my neck. My mom came over and knelt down next to us, wrapping my sister and me close. Thud, thud, thud. "Call the police," my mom whispered to my dad. The knocking instantly stopped. My dad looked over his shoulder at us. "Do you think..." He was cut off by frantic knocking that trailed off to a polite tap, tap, tap. "Police," something said from the other side of the door. The voice from outside sounded exactly like my mom, like a parrot repeating the words back to her. "Police, call. The police. Tap, tap, tap. Police." My mom pulled us closer. "Police, police, police, police." "Please stop," I heard her whisper. "I don't think calling them will help," my dad said. "How will we know when they're the ones at the door?" The knocking came back harder than before. The door shook, then it stopped. After a long moment, I heard the knocking again. It was coming from our back door. We all turned towards the back door, but the knocking immediately turned to the front door. Front to back, back to front, loud, then quiet, then loud again. Suddenly, the sound was coming from both doors at once. Big heavy blows like a sledgehammer. Then something started rapping against all the windows in the house, then the walls. It was like we were living inside a drum with a dozen people trying to play at once. Or we were a turtle and something was attempting to claw us out of our shell. Stop, Holden yelled. The knocking died. I won't tell, Holden said, staring at the door. I promise I won't tell anyone what I saw, just please go away. We waited for nearly a minute. Then we heard it, a soft tap, 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 coming from the window Holden had looked through earlier. Holden started to cry, sobbing like a prisoner watching gallows being built outside their cell. And Hebruva, welcome, hun. My dad held him, brushed his hair, but never lied to him. He never told things would be okay. The tapping at the window went on for the rest of the night. We huddled together in the living room for I don't know how long. Eventually, my mom tried to take us kids into my room while my dad stayed to watch the door. But the second we moved into my bedroom, the knocking came back. So loud it was impossible to ignore. I was afraid the door couldn't take it. We went back to the living room and the knocking stopped. Only the tap, tap, tap on the window remained. None of us slept that night. The tapping stopped around 7 a.m. That's about the time sun comes up here. We waited another hour, 2 hours before my dad opened the blinds from one window. He made us all go back to my parents' bedroom first. I heard him open the door, then come back in. Okay, he told us. Done. Holden's parents came back around lunchtime. My mom and dad walked Holden over to his house and they all went inside for quite a while. Nola and I watched from the window. She stuck to me the whole day, right at my side, sometimes holding my hand. When my parents came back, they looked grim, but wouldn't tell us what they said to Holden's family. It was a Sunday, so we all spent the day together, ordered pizza, and watched some movies. That night, everyone slept in my room. Nola and my mom in the bed with me, my dad in a chair he'd pull over. There was no knocking that night, or any night since. I indeed didn't see much of Holden or his parents for the rest of that week, but by Thursday there was a moving truck in their driveway. Nola and I watched them pack up the whole afternoon after school. What sticks with me the most is how tired Holden and his parents looked. All three had the same pallor, grim mouths and lightless eyes. Even from across the street, I could tell something was very wrong. Holden and his family were gone before sunset. I remember what the original welcoming committee said to my parents when we moved in. Not everyone who looks at the Whistler dies, but even those that live have the light go out of them, and the rest of their lives are full of misfortune, a million little tragedies. I think Holden's parents must have looked, either to comfort him if they didn't believe, or share the burden if they did. I watched Nola some days, happy and young and alive, and I wonder if I'd been slower if she'd looked out the window that night. Would I have looked too, to comfort her, to share that burden? I'm glad I don't have to find out. We still live in that house in that neighborhood. We still hear our whistler walking past every night. The blessings, the luck, the good things here are too good to leave. But we're careful. We don't have friends over to spend the night anymore. My dad hides the key to the blinds very, very well. Not that I've gone looking. Some things you just don't need to look for. Holy fucking shit. That was the story called Something Walks Whistling Past My House Every Night at 3:03.
Baba Booey.
Baba Booey indeed. Thank you for the biddies, hun. But yeah. Holy fucking shit. I really love stories where it's like you don't look. It's all good if you don't look, etc. Something goes Baba Booey past my house. Don't worry, it's just me on my way to catch some like midnight pizza. Don't worry about it. It's just me. Nothing too scary, I would assume. I would assume that I'm probably not the scariest thing you can meet in the dark. Maybe. Let me just thank you, Bruva. No, yeah. It's nice to see you again here. Yeah. I'm really happy with the model. Like, it's been a blessing. But also, like, if you noticed, or if you were, like, earlier this week hanging out with streamers, or maybe specifically with Chance, Yomitsu, who was with us earlier, you may have heard that there's and also we are currently doing RTX on, so yeah, better tracking. I really noticed like a difference with the mouth tracking. You can see everything I say so very clearly. Oh shit, it's the ghost of Yomitsu. You can pet her, or at least her after image. Yeah. But yeah, it's you giving your after image head pats. But maybe I'll move them so I can get them myself. Yeah. Well, you know, darlings, sometimes you just gotta give yourself the head pats. Sometimes you gotta do it your goddamn self. That's okay. Highly recommended. Everybody deserves head pats. God, holy shit. I did enjoy that. Thank you, Bruva. I got her boba. I got her head pats. What's left for her? The incredible experience of sharing the same space with me, reading stories with me. Is that something? Maybe, perchance, maybe. I would hope so. But don't worry, I'll get her more boba. more headpads. Because I... Oi! I promise I'm gonna get you more boba and headpads. No need to bonk me, you fucking gremlin. Or, you know, give me your worst. Give me your worst. I'm here. I'm right here. Do it. Go for it. Right here. Right here. Completely open. Get it out of your system. You take your bonk back. There we go. Here we... Oi! Holy shit! Itai! Oh wait. Did you get it out of your system, love? Did you? Feeling good, darling? Mm-hmm. You feeling nice? And comfy with your choices, hun? Did you get it out of your system? Very good. Then there's only a couple of things left to give you unlimited headpads and get you another blueberry boba on Friday at the very latest. Itai, you... I'm just offering boba here for people and I'm getting bonked. What the fuck is this? Finger slip. Sus. I'm being very sus about this finger slip. But I accept it. For now. Let me just have a sip. And then we can move on to the next one. There we go. So the next one. Oh, awesome. BGM. I think it just ended. And I'm only realizing it now. But the next one is called We've been locked in our classroom for days and our teacher is starting to act very strange. By, it's written by Papa Mishka 89. I hope you enjoy. Day 1. We had just opened our textbooks to chapter 8 when the alarms blared overhead. A red strobing light spun by the door as metal slats slid down the wall to steal us in. The others started to stir and panic at their desks. No, class. I'm sure everything is fine, probably just a drill. Mr. Jonas held up his hand in an attempt to soothe the crowd. Thank you for the hydrate, Salo. Just as he was about to open his mouth, Evie came over the intercom. Level 3 contagion located in the south quadrant of campus. Lockdown protocol is now in effect. Isolation protocol is now in effect. Oh no, the teacher suddenly looked pale and a little panicked himself. Day 3. I slid my rook across the tiled chessboard to overtake Patricia's bishop. She stuck out her tongue in defiance as I removed it from the board. I smirked and then shoved another saltine cracker in my mouth. Mr. Jonas said we shouldn't be in here much longer. It was probably just taking the CDC a while to quarantine and eradicate the contagion. He said it must be a pretty nasty virus if they're keeping us locked in our classrooms. We have enough snacks for another day or so. It's been difficult to ration properly when all you have are crackers, candy, and canned spray cheese. Spray cheese always confused me so fucking much. Like, you have a spray can full of cheese. Fucking cheese. What the fuck is up with that? Is it good though? Does anyone know if that's any good? Like, it seems weird. And yeah, more of a cheese product. I see. I've heard of these milk products that are like, yeah, this is milk-ish, for example. So it's a bit similar, like it's cheese-ish. I see. That makes sense. It's can slap in the right context. Huh. I wouldn't trust any food that comes out of a spray can, but like, I've been wrong before in my life, so you know, wouldn't be the first time. Maybe it would surprise me positively, question mark, maybe, perchance. But in any case, overall though, we were keeping our hopes up, which was all we could really do. Staying positive for now. Day 5. The room was starting to smell foul. We designated some buckets in the corner as the bathrooms, and they were about half full and beyond putrid. We ran out of food last night. My stomach rumbled with hunger, but I did my best to ignore it. I didn't feel like playing chess or reading anymore. Instead, I just napped at my desk as much as possible to pass the time. I was hoping at any moment I'd be awoken to the doors opening so that I could go home. I missed my parents. Mr. Jonas was losing his composure too. He'd been pretty put together up to this point and ensuring we were all calm, but his eyes looked a little wild now. He kept pacing the room, talking to himself. A few times I had heard him cursing under his breath and then reciting prayers. I really hope we could get out of here soon. Day 8. Bang, bang, bang. Pounding sound coming from the other side of the classroom pulled me from my dreams. Bang, bang, bang. I stayed still to appear asleep but cracked my eyes just enough to watch as the biology teacher smashed the chair against the steel door over and over again. Bang, bang, bang. He was really losing it. "Let us out of here," Mr. Jonas screamed as he tossed the chair to the side. "Cannot do that, sir. Level 3 contagion has been detected. I've sealed off the affected area, but you must stay isolated for your safety." A robotic voice hummed over the speakers. He screeched profanities at the camera in the corner of the ceiling. Some of the other boys were becoming aggressive as well. There had been some fights the last couple of mornings. Also some hands going where they shouldn't be going, back behind the fake plants and lab equipment. It seemed as if they were slowly devolving, becoming an enclosure of chimpanzees, like one you'd see at the zoo but only hungrier. We needed out, or something terrible was going to happen. Day 10. We'd been on a diet of tap water for the past 5 days. I felt dizzy every time I stood from my desk. The room would spin and I'd almost black out. I kept my footing by sheer force of willpower. I had this irrational fear that if I passed out, I'd be eaten by my classmates, like a pack of hyenas on a gazelle, feasting on my intestines as they spilled across the tiled floor. It sounded crazy if I said it out loud, but when I looked around the room and saw all the hungry faces, I didn't think the idea was too far-fetched after all. Mr. Jonas hasn't said a word in over 12 hours. He's just been sitting at his desk, carving something in the surface of it with an X-Acto knife. For the first time today, I had the thought that maybe we weren't going to make it out of this. Maybe we were all going to die in this classroom. I hung my head and cried. Day 13. Mr. Jonas, stop, Micah cried. Don't you see? We have to do this, we need food, it's survival 101. When the pack is suffering and food is scarce, they turn on their weakest member. It's simple biology, survival of the fittest. Mr. Jonas had his hands around Trevor's neck, squeezing so hard that the boy's eyes were about to pop from his skull. Trevor struggled beneath him, but he was frail and terribly small for his age. Micah grabbed a large beaker from the table and lifted it high over his head. Mr. Jonas, stop now. Don't make me do this. But the teacher was long gone. His eyes gleamed with delight as drool dripped down his chin from salivating at the thought of a meal. I jumped to my feet as Micah brought the beaker down as hard as he could onto Mr. Jonas's head. It shattered to pieces on impact, knocking the teacher out cold. I helped Micah push him off Trevor. The poor kid was wheezing and gasping for air as tears streamed down his face. You're alright, it's okay, you're alright. Micah patted the kid on the back, trying to calm him as he wailed. Suddenly, there was a scream, like a war cry, and Mr. Jonas was airborne. He leaped across the desk and plowed into Micah. They both went sprawling across the tile. Micah resisted him, but Mr. Jonas ended up on top and began dropping his elbows viciously on Micah's face, causing blood to spew from his nose and mouth. Panic filled my mind. I didn't think. I only reacted. I reached down and picked up a hunk of glass from the broken beaker, grabbed Mr. Jonas's shaggy hair and pulled it back to extend his neck. I pulled the glass through the meat of his throat as hard as I could. I'd never seen so much blood before, poured in a waterfall across Micah's chest. Mr. Jonas fell to the side once more, this time never to get up. I stared at my blood-soaked hands. I felt nothing, no remorse, no fear, only static. Suddenly the metal slats retracted into the ceiling and the door swung open. Lockdown protocol has been lifted. Please continue with your regular schedules. Lockdown protocol has been lifted. Her cheery voice seemed so distant and out of place now. The other students gathered around me, just staring at the pool of blood. I think it was the hunger talking, but part of me wanted to know what it tasted like. I think others did too. Thankfully, before that could happen, a man in a suit strolled into the classroom. Hello, class. His perfect teeth gleamed under his LEDs. Before we could say anything, a team of adults in overalls poured into the room. Some began taking pictures of everything, others started cleaning up Mr. Jonas. One man with grey hair dropped a large box on the teacher's desk and opened it. Then he started throwing fresh fruit and granola bars to each of the students. We devoured everything he gave us. I started to feel more like myself after 2 bananas and 4 granola bars. They tasted like heaven, sweet salvation. The first man with the nice teeth in the expensive suit waited until we were all done before he addressed us again. I know it's been long 13 days, guys. I appreciate you all hanging in there. I've alerted each of your parents that you've been cleared to go home. The classroom erupted in cheers as we all hugged each other. Even Micah, covered in gore, danced around excitedly. You'll all be able to go home soon, but first I just need to do a little debrief with each of you before you go. I'm going to set up in the counselor's office, and Mr. Moses here is going to bring you down one by one to give your account on what happened here during isolation. We all nodded our heads in agreement. Anything to get us out of here. Mr. Moses, the man with the grey hair and the snacks, took us down there one by one, and we spilled our guts to the man with the nice teeth. When I gave my story on what it was like, I still felt numb. Even when describing how I'd killed Mr. Jonas, I just felt nothing. It wasn't until I'd gotten home that evening that I broke down and wept. Once I was in my mother's arms, I cried, and cried until I couldn't anymore. Then I ate more food than I ever had. I shoved pasta down my throat until I thought my stomach would burst. It was a good feeling, to be full, to be human again. Years later, while I was at university, a whistleblower had leaked that what we'd endured at the school was a government cover-up for a top-secret experiment. There had been no virus, no contagion. It began as an experiment to test the artificial intelligence system they had at the school, but then it had morphed into a social experiment to see how long we would last before someone was murdered or severely harmed. To test the boundaries of civility and moral character under immense pressure, just in case there was a real issue. Just in case there was a real issue with the code in the AI, and this scenario became a reality elsewhere. When I'd killed Mr. Jonas, it had ended the experiment. The news had made me sick to my stomach. I was angry and disgusted for weeks. I was okay with it now though, you see. Trevor may have been small, the weakest member of the Pride perhaps, but he was also a genius. With his hacking expertise, we were able to locate Mr. Nice Teeth and Mr. Moses. It had been 6 days so far, and every time they scream and hit the door with a chair, I just can't help but smile. Still an experiment few of us are conducting. It'll end when someone is murdered or severely injured. Maybe. That went places. Honestly, like stories about humans and how humans start acting under like extreme pressure. That's horrifying. Also, that's why like also another American type of story. Wendigos. Those lovely little buggers. Wendigos are absolutely fucking terrifying. And also like the idea that if you get desperate enough, like it will be bad. It will, like, you will turn into a monster. Never to, you know. After Until Dawn, Wendigos became so much scarier. Oh. think I've seen like a little bit about Until Dawn, but like, maybe I should play it myself. I find that really interesting. And like, it's one of those like choices matter type of games, right? I guess like adding on top of skinwalkers, Wendigos. Yeah. Those are fucking terrifying little fuckers, yeah. But currently, I'm thinking if I want to do one more story, because my voice is actually starting to get a little tired. Even though most of the stories we did like about 50-50 with Mitsu, I still notice that my voice is getting like tired a bit faster. So I think we could start looking for someone to raid. And also, as we talked about, we might be doing more reading in the future. Because like we both enjoy horror, right? And like if we find something else to read, then we'll read. But like I could like see us doing a non-Halloween like reading stream as well again. So you know, we'll keep you posted. Because I had a good time reading. I've been meaning to do more readings. And actually a lot of like more just vibing kind of streams, but not necessarily like playing a game at the same time, you know. I would really enjoy that actually. And I had a good time, and I really hope so did you. Also the problem, there's a lot of friends online right now. Oh shit, oh fuck. Who do we raid? I actually haven't managed to raid Kiyomi before. If you happen to be, like, in my key stream, like this Thursday, when we were doing, like, the vibe check, she was at least hanging out with us in the chat. So I'm feeling like maybe we could go and say hi. Yeah. So I am thinking that let's go raid Kiyomi tonight and go say hi to her. Also, as a nice little thing, I hope these work as intended, but here are raid messages, raid 1 and raid 2. Raid 1 for those who are subbed, and raid 2 if you're not subbed but you want to participate anyways, because it would be always very, very appreciated, you know. But yeah, let's go say hi to Kiyomi, enjoy some art. Darlings, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you had a good time. I hope you were at least a little spooked. But most of all, I hope you had a good time and you were very, very comfy and feeling good. So I'll see you again next week. I'll be posting a schedule soon. You take care. You have a good time. You go to sleep if you need to. And I'll see you soon. Good night. Bye bye. Mwah.